All right. What's up, everybody? Thank you for coming back if this is a return. But if you haven't been here before, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another fantastic episode of Behind Them Sticks with your boy Ham Solo. Make sure you hit that like button, share this out so other people can check out these awesome creators that I do my best to give them a good experience. So let's move forward, please. This evening, we have an earlier episode than usual, but I have a true gamer that actually has been doing content creating for quite some time. He's been doing some Twitch, but he also has his own YouTube channel where every Saturdays he does Crossfire. So check that out, super duper dope. He's been around for quite some time, but also keep in mind that his podcast is special because what he likes to do is he likes to bring debate to the conversation. So whether you all agree or not is not the exact point. The point is to just have a discussion about it and see where everybody's head's at. But before I continue, let me go on ahead and just introduce the guest straight up. We got Mooch TV. What's cracking, bro? How you doing?
Really enjoying this. Ham, thanks for having me on the show, buddy. In all honesty, I really appreciate you putting a special emphasis on what we do on Crossfire. I like to bring a difference of opinion. We have, of course, 2 or 3 of our usual, I always call them the usual suspects, our panel. But then I always bring on 2 to 3 guests that are different every week. And yes, some would be, as some would say, the Xbox side or the PlayStation side, sometimes the Nintendo side. And it's nice to get that difference of opinion because I just have, like you said, Ham, we've been doing this for a very long time over on my channel. And I appreciate everybody that swings by. I really do. I love gaming. And I think that gaming has gotten more than just the obvious answers, right? Like, oh, I like this or you like that. I now want to know, Ham, why do you like a certain company? Why has this company really outshined the others in the past few years? Or what's going on this generation that differentiates what we've seen in the past few generations? And then we see leadership changes. We see different companies now being acquired. We are in a completely different era than we were last generation and back. So there's a lot of questions to ask, and we are going into uncharted territory. That being said, there's no right answer. That's what people need to understand. There is no right answer. You can give your opinion. I'll give my opinion. But what's really great is we are kind of experiencing this all at the same time together. And when we get to the Xbox Series X2 and the PS6, then we'll have a better idea when we look in the rearview mirror of what transpired over the acquisitions, the subscriptions, the way things are going, the way developers are being handled, the way games are being dished out, the way that we're kind of consuming this media. That's all very interesting to me. And that's how I kind of try to navigate and I kind of try to position questions during Crossfire because I think that that's the interesting part. And yes, sometimes it comes to an interesting, never really heated, but a decent debate. And it's because people have different opinions on how they spend their money and how they enjoy their favorite pastime of gaming. And I'm very intrigued by that. So, Ham, outstanding to be here tonight, and thank you so much for the invitation. I'm really looking forward to the show.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much once again, like I said, for coming on. It means a lot. And I'm sure my viewers are pretty happy. It seems like we have a few of them that are in there pretty happy to see you. So we got Matt
Appreciate
James
that.
and Too Big in the chat right now. I'm sure there'll be some more people to come in shortly. But anyways, let's go on ahead and move forward. What I wanted to do is have you first just let everybody know where they can find you. I know I kind of threw out some things, but maybe you can be a little bit more detailed with it. Like, so let people know where they can find you gaming wise and also social media wise. So either they could game with you or chat with you or maybe be on a show sometime or something like
Absolutely. I encourage that actually. So what I did this past year was I had different names across all different platforms. So I was all right. So it is a mix. It's a big mistake. It's hard for people to locate you. So I switched it to Mooch TV, and of course the O's were gone, Ham. So I had to drop the O's for zeros, right? So I've got, it's M00CHTV, but it's Mooch TV across all platforms now. That's YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. So no matter where you want to find me on social media, it's Mooch TV with zeros. I appreciate the time for the plug. On Xbox, it's just Mooch. And on PlayStation, it's the-Mooch78. I'm probably going to be changing my gamer tag, if you will, on PSN soon. I just reached out to a lot of my friends that are big-time PlayStation guys, and they said, listen, the switch over, remember before they were saying, Ham, that if you switched over, you could lose some data, some trophies. Right. I've heard now that is pretty much non-existent, and it's good to go now. So I may switch it so it's just a little easier to find. So
that's a big deal. That's a big deal because my buddy, I was telling my buddy, I was telling actually two different buddies I have a different podcast with, like, yo, you guys need to switch your name so it's uniform everywhere. And they're like, I'm down to switch my Xbox one, but I've been hearing about PlayStation. Like they're like you could possibly lose data or your games or something like that.
Or your trophies. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good to hear that's changing. I'm gonna need you to confirm that with me if you decide to actually switch it. So then I can tell my other boys, like, yo, it's okay to cross the street. It's good.
No, 100%. And actually, Ham, I will reach out to you in the next week. I actually meant to do it last week, and just I had things up. I was about to do it, and then I was like, you know what? I'll wait another. You know how weird it is, right? I'll wait another week. I don't want to lose all my stuff I've got over there, so I'll wait another week. But I am going to be pulling the trigger on that. I'm definitely going to be doing it. So, Ham, I'll reach out to you, let you know how it worked out. But I've reached out to a number of people, at least half a dozen, and they told me that they didn't have a problem with it because not everybody wants to change their name on it, and I get that. So for me, though, I think it's really key to be uniform. So it's the Mooch78 over on PSN, and it's just Mooch on Xbox, which is awesome.
Well, one of my bros, one of the reasons he was so nervous about it is because he plays a lot of retro stuff. So like a lot of PlayStation 3, pretty much. I mean, in that aspect of, online gaming, he's worried about his PS3 kind of titles and Vita and stuff like that.
He has every right to feel that way, Ham. I mean, because honestly, listen, even if I give it a thumbs up and the people I've spoke to give it a thumbs up, does that mean it's something really wouldn't happen to, I mean, you never know. You know what I mean? But in a lot of, listen, gaming's our pastime, man. It's our hobby, and it's something we've been doing for a very long time. And your achievements, your trophies, your games, your username. I know a lot of people who aren't in gaming wouldn't find this interesting, but we all care about that shit a lot. Right. And it's not only your identity online, but it's also your, it's your history. It's everything you've accomplished in gaming. And
it's your gaming Bible.
It is. It's exactly that. It's your gaming DNA, if you will. You know what I mean? So it is a big deal. But yeah, absolutely. I do agree with you. It is good to be uniformed across all media platforms. That's why I chose Mooch TV. And I really like the Mooch TV thing because, to be honest, I had a very good friend of mine and I created the M logo based off of the controller one I had. And of course, I went with more. Logo.
It looks like MTV. It reminds me of that. Or,
it
technically is MTV.
It is technically. I just switched up the M to match my controller logo on the left-hand side, and of course, put in the 4 buttons there. But I planned to get. I started doing a few test runs on Twitch, and they were very successful. I really enjoyed my time on Twitch. I love gaming and interacting with the audience. I feel like I could game in Madison Square Garden and have an entire, I could have 75,000 people watching. I could talk to them all. You know what I mean? I really enjoy that. It makes the game and the experience that much more fun. So when I was thinking about it, I said, well, why don't I go with the Mooch TV thing? Because it really is you tuning into me on your TV. YouTube is basically television now. Nobody's really watching NBC, CBS, ABC. People are watching YouTube, Netflix, or something of that nature, right? So point being is that I said, well, I'm going to be getting a lot of footage over on Twitch, and then I'll transfer it over to YouTube, and we'll go back and forth. And that's just how people are consuming content right now. That's how they're consuming entertainment. So, shout out to the great, his name is Wayne. He's at I Am Deadbird over on Twitter. He's just an outstanding graphical artist. And it's just, it was a pleasure working with him and coming up with that logo.
Oh, really good to hear. All right. So, I got to know, what are you playing right now, bro?
Okay. So here's the thing. So I'm kind of dabbling in a few things, but if I'm concentrating right now I got the platinum for Horizon Forbidden West. I finished that about whatever it was, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, something like that. And now I've been playing, and I hate the name. Look, I hate the name, guys, okay? But I love Borderlands. I've always loved Borderlands. I'm a diehard Borderlands fan. I'm playing that Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Listen, I don't like the name of it, whatever. The game is still Borderlands, and I'm loving it. I'm about six trophies short of the plat. I'm done with the game.
You're a chaser?
Yeah, well, listen, I'm a chaser on what I love. Let me give you an example. The other game I'm playing right now is Elden Ring. I'm not chasing that. Okay? I'm not chasing that. I'm going to finish that game. I'm probably going to put over 100 hours into it, but I ain't chasing the platinum on that one because you got to play it 3 times. And I mean, yeah, there's a way to do a save and go back and do some things. If I can easily get that save thing to work and just go back to a prior save and then it's just a different ending. You have to do 3 different endings. That's fine, but I'm not playing 350 hours probably of Elden Ring. So I'm not a chaser in that retrospect, Ham. But yeah, so but for Borderlands, I want to get this. You know what I'm saying? So I want to get this. So I'm about 6. I think I'm like 6 or 7 trophies short right now. I finished the game. I beat the game. I'm maxed out. I'm level 40. I'm actually on what is it there? So I'm getting them confused now because there's when you get completed with the game, then there's the chaos missions. There's the chaos runs. I'm doing the chaos runs, but then there's another thing, and shame on me for not remembering it right now. But anyways, I'm level 40. That's max out. Then I'm over level 50 in the next level, because once you're done maxing out at 40, Ham, you start maxing out a different, it's not chaos, but it's something else anyways. And I'm at 50 on that, and then I just started doing the chaos runs. So I got to get to level 20. I'm like level 1 or 2 right now on the chaos runs, and I still have 1 side mission left. The other few that I have to team up with a buddy and just get a couple of multiplayer trophies. But that's basically all I got left. After that, I definitely want to get into really kind of get my nose into Elden Ring and really grind on that. And then once I'm done with that, and I already started it, like, you know, I'm about 3 bosses in right now on Elden Ring. So I've been dabbling with it just for fun and kind of
so you're still
farming.
Pretty early in that game.
Oh, yeah. I'm just farming and messing around in the world, finding out my limitations, where I can go on the map, where I can't go on the map, and you get slapped real easily, real quick. So you know where you're, right? So I'm kind of finding my way around there. And I see you're playing a little Wonderlands right now. Is that your gameplay?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about.
I'm like level 23 in that game right now.
Okay.
But I'm having a detachment feeling.
What's wrong?
From
Talk
that
to me.
Game. It totally just feels like a kid's Borderlands.
Okay.
But like
you're not wrong.
Story-wise.
You're not really wrong.
It just feels like it's very kiddie, and I remember specifically loving Borderlands because it felt adult with like cartoon looking characters. Yep. So it really missed on that mark for me, but I love the idea of bringing magic to it.
Yes, get rid of the grenades, bring the magic. Facts.
Thank you. Yes, that is just fine because those grenades got a little old after after
the first 3. Yeah,
I was gonna say after you throw a few, you threw them all. It feels like
100%.
So I do like that aspect of bringing magic to it. I wish they were a little more. I feel like getting legendary weapons in that is a little too rare.
Okay.
Because
so I'm gonna let you in on this. This is not a spoiler by no means, Ham, but I want you to progress. So I want you to keep excited here. The minute you get to level 40, I know that sounds like shit right now, but when you get to level 40, like the game really open. I hate saying this, man. This is not a good thing. But when the game opens up once you beat the game. I know that sounds so stupid. So it does. It opens up once you beat the game. It's crazy. Now I got legendaries landing all over. I'm even going back and playing some of the mini bosses that we had throughout the game. I'll go back and do that, and I'll still get some random drops. And where before when me and you were doing it at level 23, like you said, I was getting nothing, right? I was getting a lot of blues. I was getting a couple of purples. Now I'm getting gold dropping a lot more often. Like my entire inventory is gold for the most part. I have all legendaries, and it took time. It took till after I beat the game. But you are right. The main reason that it does feel more kiddie, if you will, in a sense, is because it's a T. It got rated T for teen. I believe the other Borderlands were a mature title, I believe. Someone had told me that. They said that they lowered the rating on it to get, it gets more people to play it because now, younger folks.
Now.
But yeah,
are we going to do that
sucks.
with Grand Theft Auto though? Because
let's hope not.
Ain't nobody selling lefts on Grand Theft Auto.
No, I hope not. Because if Grand Theft Auto goes down, no. Listen, that's the thing. So I think I'm with you. That's a bad mistake. That was a big mistake. This game is definitely not. So another thing I'll tell you is after I beat the game in the credits, Gearbox takes a second to just let you know. It's just a message from you, from them to the gamer, and it says, "Hey, by the way, just so you know, majority of this game was made during COVID." So I thought that was interesting because I sat back and I said, "Okay, if you look at the shows we watched, look at some of your favorite Netflix shows. Look at some of your shows. Do you notice when you look at all the shows that were coming out through COVID that it had a very small cast?" I'll give you an example. I'm a big Walking Dead fan. I know there's only like 8 of us left, but I'm one of them. So I love The Walking Dead. But if you watched the season, not this past one that's going on, not where we are now, technically like 2 seasons ago because they divide them up, 2 per year. If you go back, you'll see that there's only 2 or 3 cast members in each shot. And that's because they couldn't have many people on set. My point being with this is that this game looks like it was definitely kind of like a stepbrother, stepsister to the Borderlands family. So you feeling the way you feel, Ham, is not wrong. You're actually kind of spot on. This is not your typical full blown out Borderlands 4. I think we're going to get that probably in 2 or 3 years.
That would be dope. And I wanted to go back to that, like, uncomfortable, like, why? And, like, the feeling of Borderlands, like, especially in like 2 and 3, when you start to see your characters that you've been around with perish, and you're just like, no.
Yes.
And it like literally makes you kind of angry in the game. Like on 3, for instance, and this is going to be a straight up spoiler because that game's been out for a minute now.
No, go ahead.
Like, for instance, when Maya dies, I was livid because that was my girl in 2. Like phase shift and lock and all that crazy stuff. I used to love it when I'd kill somebody and watch my phase bounce from one person to another, and it'd like just drain their health, and I just turn and just hit them a couple times because I got the the B armor.
Right.
And so like every shot I had was just amped up and just murdering fools. And I felt like I was walking in like I'd go into a village and the whole village would be in trouble.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that feeling of just feeling so evil and just ruthless, like I don't get that feeling with this one a little bit.
No, you're not. And you know what? Listen, you're not going to. I mean, if I just present the premise, which you already know, I don't know if the audience knows, but the premise of it is literally Tiny Tina, who became a big hit in the series in Borderlands 2, really kind of took off with her no nonsense kind of, you know what I mean? Her script was just no nonsense. She says what she wants. She does what she wants. It's her and 2 other characters, which, by the way, outstanding voice acting. I believe Wanda Sykes is a voice character, and so is Will Arnett. And they really bring it to another level as far as I'm concerned. That was a nice touch. But on top of that, it's just them just playing a board game. But what I did like, and I gotta have to Google it for a second. What was the game on SNES? Man, do you remember the game where you played a game as an action character, and then when you were done with that level, you were then brought to it looked like Sim City, right? So you were then in control of an entire world. It had 2 different games within the game. That's what this game has, right? So this game has all of the Borderlands, right? The Borderlands we're used to. And then on the other end of it, they have that we're in the game. Remember, we're our game piece, and you're in the overworld, and there's all sorts of different quests and things to do there. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on it right now. It'll come to me later on. I'll shout it out. Shout out, by the way. Shout out to is it Stank Maw? I want to say what's up to Stank out there.
Yeah, Stank Maw is dope. Like
shout out to him.
He was on one of I had a stream on earlier, and he's just always there for me. He's one of the community members that come to my channel frequently, and I really appreciate him quite a bit. So I just wanted to throw that shout out
Absolutely.
to you, Stinkmon. Thank you so much. Same with Matt and Too Big and whatnot. But I talked to Matt and Too Big quite a bit outside of my shows and whatnot. But Stinkmon is like somebody I haven't even like bro, I gotta get you on this show one time. We need to actually sit down and chat because bro plays games. So but anyways, so we were talking about a little bit. I'm gonna move on. We were talking about a little bit about you were looking at my collection and everything I got. We were talking about the mess that I have, and you're like, "Oh, that's being a gamer," and I'm like, "No, like it's under construction right now." but you were telling me how you have a bunch of retro things, and you have 50 NES games, and
which is sad though, Ham. I had well over 200, and I was telling Ham before the show, in the multiple moves over life, I've just lost the cartridges, and that's a sad thing. I got 50 now. I had well over 200 at one point. So, but yeah, please go ahead and finish. My bad, Ham.
No, you're good. Give a little context. That don't hurt. But I just wanted to kind of start out by saying, like, what is like the first console that you actually kicked off your gaming career with?
Okay, so the first one, when I say this, the people in the audience are going to go right to Google and be like, what the hell is that? So I don't want to get things messed up. I'm not that old, but like the first one I ever jammed out on for the first time was a ColecoVision, right?
Ooh, wow.
Which is, listen, let me tell you a little something. That could be the worst controller ever made by human beings ever. It was listen to me. It was a portable phone with a knob on the top of it. Could be the worst thing ever made. Anyway, but I didn't play that for very long. When you say what's my true first system, yes, I'm going to speak the truth. The truth was it was Coleco. But where was it where I really got my foundation was the NES. Nobody likes console wars, or they say that in air quotes, but everybody loves console wars. Listen, the Nintendo Sega console wars, that was real. That was real. That was like watching, like when I grew up watching the NBA in the 90s and watching the NBA right now. That's two different games we're watching. Okay? Mm-hmm. Right? That was physical. 100%. That was physical in the 90s.
It was disrespectful.
Call it whatever you will. It was entertaining. Those boys played their heart out. But, the thing about it is, don't get me wrong, basketball's great now, too. I enjoy it now still. But, like, after watching that and growing up in the 90s, it's different now. So now the same thing, NES and Sega Genesis, man, that was console wars to the craziest degree. And now it can still get wild and all that, but like I think it's much more chill now than it used to be. It used to be crazy on the street back then when we were talking about that stuff.
Well, the difference to me is, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but the difference to me is people are fearless when they don't have to, be in person.
Yeah.
But back in the day, I remember
you were face to face.
I remember, chest out and everything, talking to people. That's like, hey, bro, like I'm playing Sega, and if you want to come over and play a real console, you'll come over to my crib. But if I want to come over and play something subpar, I'll come over there and play some Mario.
Right? Yeah. I'll come over to your SNES and we'll see that green blood you got on Mortal Kombat. Right? That B grade blood. Right? Yeah. Thanks. Right. So. Yeah, me being the Nintendo guy, I had to eat that for a minute because all my friends that were Genesis fans, which listen, it's not like now, right? Like, let's be honest. I said what I got on my wall. We can all see what's on your wall, right? I got all the same systems you got right back there. Like nowadays, like you said earlier, me and Ham were talking about this before the show. It don't really matter to me or Ham. I'll speak for Ham here because he said it. Like, we don't care where you play, right? It don't really matter where you play the games. Just play the games. But back in the day, I'm going back to the late 80s, 90s. I'm telling you, I didn't have two consoles. You picked a console and then you stood your ground.
You sold everything for a next console.
Yes. Listen. Okay, you drew the line in the sand and you stood there proud, holding the flag. And that's what it was. So, like you said, not only were you toe to toe with these console wars back in the 80s and 90s, but you had one console. You put your money into those games. And yes, some of the games were on Genesis. Some of those games were on Nintendo. So you had to have that rivalry of now which one is truly better, because I'm not buying your brand. Now
Right.
we all say that and we get angry, right? But then what do we see? 8 days later, maybe 8 months later, someone tweets out a picture. I had to go get a Series X. You know what I mean? Or, oh, look at this. A PS5 just landed in my lap. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's like everybody's got a lot now. I'm not saying everybody's got every console. No, that's not true. But, man, you even got people talking about like 3070s and 3080 cards. These things are anywhere from $600 ranging all the way upwards of $1,499. That's $1,499 for a 3090 Founders Edition. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So, like, we've got a good spot right now as gamers where we're able to have multiple opportunities and multiple consoles. But yeah, the console war back then was a serious thing, and I truly listen. I played a role in it. We had fun as kids, man. It was the Nintendo group. There was the Genesis group. And it was brutal. I eventually ended up getting a Genesis way into the generation, like when it was like nobody cared at that point. But I picked it up, and I picked up some games on the cheap. And look, there was things that Genesis did that Nintendo didn't. And I'm not trying to just imitate that commercial, okay? I'm just saying to you, there was things Genesis did. There was just the speed of games on Genesis. And I'm not just picking on Sonic, but I don't care what it was. The brutality, Altered Beast, just
Very
like anything.
adult.
Very much more adult theme. But listen, that still lives today. Nintendo's still very youthful, right? They're very youthful. Their big selling games are Mario Kart, Mario, Zelda, Metroid, Kirby. Okay? Looks like bubble gum blown up. That's their big, listen, I'm not busting their that's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. So shout out to Nintendo, man, still doing their thing. I got a Switch. I'll tell you this much. I probably play Switch twice a year, but I got a Switch because you know what? I told you, Ham, I drew the line. I'm a Nintendo guy deep down inside. I will not have a Nintendo in my house. That's just the way it is. So I've got all the Zelda games. I got all the Mario games. I got the Mario Kart games. When Metroid came out, I was there in line. I got my Metroid. Enjoyed every second of that. That game is fantastic, but it doesn't really range differently from the old school Metroid. You go play Super Metroid, then play the new Metroid Dread. Does it look a little better? Of course it does. We're talking 20 years, but it's still Metroid. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy. It's Metroid, and that's why I'll always have that Nintendo in the house. But yeah, I've got behind me right now. I've got the Genesis. I've got the original Nintendo, PS3, PS2. Original OG Xbox 360. The only thing I don't have in the house right now, and it was because I decided I was lucky enough to be able to get two PS5s. I traded in my PS4. I had two PS4 Pros. I traded them both in, and I got PS5s. They were given $300 for each of those, and now things are getting. Well, they give $300 for those for trade-in, $275, whatever it was. But I was a pro member at GameStop. Yeah, it's Moochonomics, man. Listen, if you're going to give me $300 and I only got to pay $200, think about it. If you just went and bought one PS5 and kept your old consoles or didn't trade them in or didn't have any, it's $500. I got two consoles for $400. You know what I mean?
That's
so
insane.
Like that's the thing when it comes down to it. People walk in my house and go, I can't believe you got two PS5s. I'm like, listen, let me break the numbers down for you. Because if you have one, I paid less than you. And it's all about capitalize while you can. I didn't feel like I had to keep the Xbox Ones, and I didn't feel like I had to keep the PS4s because now we entered a new era. And you can call me, you can say I'm wrong for this. I'll take my lumps. What I'm saying to you, Ham, is I don't need to have the PS4 Pro. I don't need to have my Xbox One because the Xbox Series X and the PS5 play those games for me now. Right. So the nostalgia of all the other consoles I have, man, you got to have those consoles. You know what I mean? You got to have those consoles for the most part to play those games. Not all of them. You can play some of your PS1 and PS2 games on PS Now. I get it. But I got my PS3 here. I got, you know what I mean? Like, you got to, those are the nostalgia factors. I feel like as we kind of move on forward, and time will tell, I might be wrong in a couple generations. We'll have to come back and do a show, Ham, in 15 years. But like, right? But I think right now you don't need to, like Xbox One and moving forward, I wouldn't necessarily, you know what I'd say to you, Ham? Trade in your Xbox One, get a Series X, hear me out. And then down the road, if you're a nostalgia collector, go pick up an Xbox One on the cheap 10 years from now for $150 on eBay or whatever. You know what I mean? Because you're not really going to plug it in because you're playing your games on your new system anyway. So you're just going to put it on your shelf. So even if you bought it for $100 and the guy says, yo, it's broke, it don't matter. You got it for the shelf. You're using it as a trophy at this point.
Right.
So that's my whole thing when it comes to that. I think that's the best part of that. But the consoles you got behind you, and I'm seeing, and the ones I got behind me, these are things you got to kind of have because they're not making any more of those, as we know. And some of the games, you have to have the hardware to play them. You know what I mean? Especially like Dreamcast or anything like that. Or if you got the GameCube, any of that goods, which I have that too. You know, you gotta have those to play those. Now, will you? Maybe you only play those once in 15 years. But you still have it, and you can put it on the shelf, and it's a part of your life. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like our gamer tag. It really is something we bring. When someone walks in my house, sees this shelf I have behind me of all these older systems and games, you know, they're kind of like, okay, so I heard you talking about it, so you're real. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, yeah, this is just from 1985, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't, I didn't get this yesterday. So it's the real deal. And it really is. I truly enjoy gaming, and I've been able to, my dad never gamed. My dad enjoyed like hanging out while me and the family were gaming. And same thing with my kids. So the kids game, and I've been able to share that, and we do that as a family together. A lot of times either on the Nintendo or some family games that are on PlayStation or Xbox, So I think that's anyone that's listening in the chat right now, I think that's a great way if you're not outside. Everybody says go touch grass. Okay, so we'll go touch grass. Once you're done touching grass and mowing the lawn, and you're coming back in, I think video games with family is healthy because it brings the family together. You're using your mind, you're using your hand-eye coordination, and it opens communication within the family. So I encourage that. A lot of people think that that's a bad thing. I think gaming is probably one of the best things you can do as a family.
I mean, I can also, just throw on Ghost of Tsushima and touch grass and that too, though.
Facts.
So I can even feel it in the controller.
That was, I'm glad you brought that. Yes, you can. I am so glad you brought that up. That was one of the games when I saw it, I said, okay, this is going to be a good game, but I didn't know it was going to be a great game. I platinumed that thing, and I thought that was absolutely just, man, the open world, the no-nonsense HUD where they had nothing on there, just you roaming, doing your thing, learning different combos. It was really something, and I got to give credit where credit's due. There's a couple teams doing it right now, like Playground Games is going to go from doing car games to Fable. So we're going to see how they do. But it really is, a feather in the cap, right, to say that Sucker Punch went from the games they made, first-person shooters, to Ghost of Tsushima. It's just that's crazy. It's like if me and you, okay, we're in the steak business. We got restaurants. We're Ruth Chris. We're making all these fancy steaks. All of a sudden, we decide to sell all our stock, get out of it, and now we're gonna go make cupcakes and muffins. Dude, no.
You sound like
okay, no, you can't. Right, it's right. It's drastic. That's some drastic shit right there. So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how some of these teams step out of their comfort zone. So I'm excited to see what happens.
All right, so I gotta bring something up before I continue through my list of questions and also the current question that we're in, because this is a hot topic between my group of friends that I kick it with. Mm-hmm. But what did you feel about when Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut dropped and you had to pay more for the DualSense features? Well,
so I'm going to make it very basic at first, Ham, and then we'll get to this exact answer in a second. One of the things that I've always felt works is, Ham, you have a store. Okay. I walk in, I have money in my pocket. You have something behind the counter that's a product that I would like to buy. I then give you the money. You give me that said property or that said item. You're happy you got the money. I'm happy I got the product. That's capitalism 101. It's just how it works. Don't matter what it is. Don't matter if it's sneakers, cupcakes. I don't give a shit what it is. Don't matter to me. Don't matter. They came out and made a director's cut with, I think it was, I don't have the list in front of me, and that was a topic from a long time ago, so I'm jogging my memory. It was more than just the DualSense. There was other things that were included.
Yeah, it's
beside
like
it.
like lip sync or like
There was also wasn't the frame rate changed? The frame rate ability.
Well, the frame rate was changed, I believe, for even
Was
the
that prior?
PS4. Yeah, I think that was
Okay.
prior to that.
That's fine.
So.
Yep. No, you're right. I think you're 100% right on that, by the way. Here's the thing when it comes down to it. So the reason I think a lot of people had a hard time with it, Ham, was because people said, hey, Microsoft does some of this stuff for free. But you got to remember, Microsoft, we say this all the time. We say it so fast. I don't think we take a second to think about it. We keep going, well, Microsoft's a $1 trillion company. Well, Microsoft's a $1 trillion company. They're the number 1, number 2 company in the world. Well, we've got to stop and listen to what we're saying. They're doing an enormous amount of things with a loss. And that's fine. They can afford to do that. Sony, on the other hand, has these people working on the director's cuts or these other options. They're options. You don't have to buy them, right? That goes back to my capitalism thing. You think that's too much? You know what you do? You leave the store with $10 in your pocket. The guy behind the counter still has the product in his hand. Nobody made any money. Nobody exchanged anything. So nobody put a gun to anybody's head to do this, first of all.
Right.
The other thing is that people are putting their time and sweat and energy into it. And there's a lot of businesses that do things like this, right? So like if you said to somebody, hey, like you're looking at real estate, Ham, and you say, listen, I want you to represent me as a buying agent. Well, they're going to say to you, I want you to sign this contract, because they're not going to go show you 15 houses and waste their time. And then you're like, you know what? I'm just kidding. I like renting my apartment. See you later. If you're going to go buy a house underneath them and not use them, they're going to take you to court because you utilize their time. These people are working, all right? To do these things, they had to do enhancements. It didn't just happen magically overnight. The Keebler elves don't work at Sucker Punch. So, like, somebody did the work. So at the end of the day, I kind of look at it and I say, okay, most of these upgrades from Sony have been $10. And I go, if it's a game I love and I want those additions, I personally don't feel $10 is hurting or offending me. Now, you might go, Mooch, I got to lay a whole nother side on this on you. And that's fine. I'm listening. I want to hear it. I just think at the end of the day, if you told me I don't want that DualSense and the lip sync and the other thing that they did doesn't interest me, don't buy it. It's not necessarily a case of Sony can copy Microsoft. We can't say billion is the same as trillion. You know what I mean? We can't do that. Sony sold off a lot of their things as we went from the PS4 into the PS5 era. They got rid of a lot of the little things they used to, all the widgets and gadgets they used to make. Now they basically do TVs and PlayStation. That's about it. They have focused on the PlayStation. The PlayStation's their bread and butter. So they do need to get paid. Nintendo does it. Look at Nintendo. Nintendo's charging $35 a year or something like that. It's been a while now since I actually looked at it because for their online, they don't have achievements. They don't even have a chat. Each of these companies is doing what they have to do, Ham, to keep, and people laugh when you say this, to keep the lights on, to keep people employed, to send checks home to all these. Did you ever, I just beat Wonderlands, right? And I beat Horizon Forbidden West. Anybody in the chat, anybody that has beaten a game in the past, year? Have you guys seen all the names in the credits?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how long these credits are now.
These credits are crazy, Ham. That Wonderlands, I even sped it up. You can speed it up. You can press down on the left stick, and you can speed that up. It still took 5 minutes. Sped up. Like, that's every person on that had their hand out. Pay me.
Dude, I've seen indie games that take minutes to go through speeding up.
It's nuts. So when you see these big games like this, man, everybody's trying to get their hand in the pot. So, look, you can go, and I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. If you feel that's greedy, well, I can't say you're wrong, but all I could say is I can't think of one friend, one family member that would go in on a Saturday and Sunday and work extra on a project they already completed and not want to get paid. If you're not going to do free work, and your family and your friends aren't going to do free work, just because Microsoft can eat the bill You know, like again, you go to this big fancy dinner and the check has $1,000 on the end of it, right? That's the bill. The bill's $1,000. And you're one boy who does like crazy good. Maybe he made it big time. He pays the bill. Don't mean you're going to pick up that bill. I don't mean I'm going to pick that bill up next week. No, we're going to Five Guys when it's my bill, right? So like, there ain't going to be no commas in the bill. So what I'm saying to you is we can't sit here and go, well, they're doing it. Well, it's two different companies. And honestly, maybe it's because I did grow up when I grew up. Some of these games that were on the SNES were legitimately, they were like $80, $90, you know? So it's that's the thing. So coming from the 80s when they were $80, you've seen the flyers, Ham, right? People put the pictures out all the time. Like, you can see that they were $80, $90 back in the day. So if that's when it was back then, to pay an extra $10, again, and there's been other upgrades where I didn't pay the $10 because I frankly didn't want to play the game again. I didn't want to play the game again, or I felt like you feel, maybe you feel, or maybe the boys that you were talking to say, they're like, listen, that's not enough for my $10. And if that ain't enough for the $10, I respect that. I really do. I just think when it comes down to it, we've got to talk apples for apples with the two companies, and we also have to talk about, it's really down to personal gamers' preference, I think. I hope I kind of answered that the right way. Kind of took it in a couple different directions.
Yep, but I'm gonna take one glove off.
No, go ahead, Ham.
I'm gonna take one glove off.
Yes.
And my whole thing is that, like, I understand the whole like lip sync thing and a few of the other upgrades. But the thing that made me look a little sideways at the deal, which keep in mind, I bought this game physical for $40 at a store.
Right.
And it was the director's cut for PS5. So, like, my hands are kind of out of it when it comes to the argument for this. Like I don't really have a stake.
Right.
If that makes sense. But but the problem I do have with like just watching and seeing other people that have to deal with that is like I'm okay with you charging more for the acting or the lip sync and the DLC itself and all this other stuff, but when you advertise the PS5 to have DualSense features and then I have to pay for it once a game comes out, it just seems a little weird. It feels like I'm paying to be able to, I buy the TV,
right?
But I have to pay to get a picture on my TV.
Yep. No, and I don't necessarily, like I said, I don't think that you're wrong. I'm actually just looking up just so I can actually see. What did they? So was it it was a $10 charge? Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was for like the DualSense features and. And I think there was a couple other things on there as well, which I don't think the other couple things are bad. Like if you want to, and like you said earlier, $10, that's not a bunch of money.
No. Your point. No, but your point's valid. You're not necessarily wrong. That's the thing. I don't think. I think what it comes down to at the end of the day is you don't need it. So it's kind of like, if you want it, it's there. I will say this much. I think a lot of people spoke their mind like you did, Ham. I don't think a lot of people picked up. I don't know. I don't think a lot of people picked up that version of the director's cut. But if you look at the other, so I upgraded Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, and Lost Legacy for $10. And that was like the remaster. I got the remaster on the PS5 version. So it did everything. It did the frames, it did the DualSense, it did the graphical capabilities, went up. Everything looks a lot better, runs a lot better, feels a lot better. That was a better $10 than the Ghost of Tsushima one. Because like you said, they already gave us the frames and everything else in the PS4 Pro version.
Right.
That game was, like I said, that's just going back into the PS4 Pro, so I didn't remember as crisp and clear as I do with like the Uncharted Lost Legacy and the Thief's End, which was I think called what was it called there? Thieves something or another. But anyways, it was in January, this past January. So that's a little more fresher in my mind. But yeah, when it comes down to it, I think that you're not wrong for feeling that way. Should Sony throw it in the bag? Listen, I'm a consumer too. So the minute Microsoft or Sony says, I'm going to throw this to you for free, Mooch, I'm good. I'm not going to offer $10. That's for damn sure.
Right.
Right? No, you ain't going to hear me do that. But again, it just kind of depends on how you want to kind of spend your money. I don't, I'm trying to think now. I think I did do the $10 for the director's cut on Ghost of Tsushima, but yeah, no, I wouldn't. If it's just a DualSense, I wouldn't say, Ham, you need to do that. Now, I will say this much. So if you were asking me as a friend, you said, Mooch, where do you want me to spend my $10? I would tell you to do the $10 for the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves. That was the last
Matt
one.
Likes Games threw that in the chat, and I think that's
yes, I'm with Matt.
Now that
I'm with
upgrade
Matt.
is like, that feels like you're paying like less
You're
than what you should pay. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It feels like you're
Yes.
stealing it.
Yeah. So I guess,
and for instance, I want to throw this out here
Yeah.
real quick, and this has nothing to do with really anything, but like, there's an Arkham collection for the spring sale on Xbox right now. It's only $8.99 for the whole
Yep.
collection of that game.
right.
And that's kind of the feeling that I've got seeing the Uncharted. Like wow, like how is that cheap? Like if you own the game already. And like I literally didn't own that Uncharted already. I went to a store because I have a physical version of the PS5. I bought a copy of Uncharted 4 for $5.
Yep.
And upgraded it. So I spent total
$15.
$15 for what, like 2 or 3 games?
2 games.
For 2 games in its best form.
Yep, I'm with Matt. I'm with you on that. So that's a better sense of spending $10, right? So I'm with you on that. That's where the $10 should go. The Uncharted was worth it. Matt's right. The $10 for the director's cut of Ghost of Tsushima, definitely a stretch. Definitely a stretch. But I will say this much, and I don't know how much of your audience plays on Xbox versus PlayStation, but I'll just say this much.
Most of us play both. We don't mess
Right.
around with that.
Well, I'm on both.
Stuff.
I'm on both every day. I no joke. If you guys follow me where I told you to follow me, you'll see me on both consoles. At least one every day, sometimes both. But hear me out. I will say this much, Ham, and I never thought these words would come out of my mouth. Never thought this would happen. The DualSense, for me, is now the king of controllers. I never in my life would I ever have thought, especially coming from the 360, that I would say those words while I was alive. And I will say this much. I still agree with you that the $10 for Ghost of Tsushima upgrade, probably not worth it. But if you're a diehard and you like what they are adding to the DualSense, I will say this much. Speaking of $10 upgrades, right? I'm going to keep, what did it say? Keep the same energy. So, Ham, I'm going to keep that energy. I did do the $10 upgrade for the GTA 5
Oof,
on
couldn't
PS.
do it, bro.
Listen. I'm gonna tell you right now. You can go live. You should go live one day. I don't care if you buy it on PlayStation or Xbox. That's your world. Pick up that $10 upgrade and tell me that you don't feel and see a difference. It is I gotta be honest. I'm playing through GTA 5 campaign again on PlayStation. Hear me out. The game looks amazing. The 60 frames is insane.
I'm gonna have to tell you, bro, but it felt new and different last generation when I bought it again too.
Listen,
I ain't trying to do
you
it
think
a
you're
third
alone,
time,
Ham?
bro.
You think you're alone? I've got it on 360. I've got it on Xbox One. I've got it on Xbox Series X. I've got it on PlayStation 5. The only one I didn't buy it on, man, no, wait, that ain't true. I got it on PS4 and PS5 now. I do have the PS4 version. So,
Lord.
But hear me out. Listen to me. Just please believe me, Ham. The GTA 5 upgrade with the DualSense is fucking great. It's great. And I tell you why it's great. You know how they have the phone? The phone's a big part of the game. The phone calls come in, the missions. Listen, the speaker on the controller, I'm with you. Call it a gimmick. Call it what you want. But now, I'm not joking. I'm driving to a mission, and I got Michael or Trevor or that other dude who's the guy with the glasses. I can't remember his name right now.
I was gonna say Frank.
Not Franklin. The dude who gives them all the missions in the beginning.
The nerd dude.
Dude.
Lester.
Thank you. I was gonna say starts with an L. Lester. Dude, you're just playing. You're driving to the next mission. All of a sudden, you hear the phone ring in your hand, and it's crystal clear. crystal clear, like we're talking on 2 iPhones or 2 Androids. He's like, Michael, get your ass over to blah, blah, blah. Franklin's going to meet you there. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, that's a big difference when that shit is screaming at you from your hand and it's a phone call coming in versus your TV that's 8 feet, 10 feet, 6 feet away. And it's kind of blended in with the music in the car. It's different, bro. The immersion is there. And I'm not trying to make excuses and I'm not trying to spend your $10. If you don't want to do it, don't. But I'm just telling you, it is dope, man. It is nice.
Mooch.
I'm sorry, man. Listen, I am so sorry, Ham. But I want to see you smile while you play that game again. And I know it would do it. I know it would do it. Listen, you got Matt and you got Stank agreeing with me. I'm not messing with you guys. I'm telling you the truth. Because listen, I'll tell you right now, if I don't like a game, and I'm sure we're going to talk about one soon, I'm going to be like, Ham, this game ain't for me. But like, I'm telling you right now, this change, I'm legitimately, listen, am I playing, you asked me right now, what am I playing? I didn't even mention it because I'm doing probably about 3-4 missions a week, just messing around. And it gets me some really good footage for Crossfire, right? So I like GTA. I think it's great for the scenes. It looks vibrant. The colors are beautiful. Everything, and it's the frames. Forget the DualSense for a minute. It looks good, and the frames feel good, Ham. They feel good. Like it changes the dynamic of the game. I played it for the first hour in the graphical mode, which is the 4K 30, and then I switched it over to the 60 frames, the performance mode. Even my kid was like, yo, this game is feeling fresh. It feels brand new, and he already played the shit out of it on Xbox One. So it feels fresh, and look, nobody wants to give Rockstar $10 more for a game we bought 4 times. So I feel you there, and I'm trying not to talk you into it, but if you want to really feel this game, and here's the other thing, me and you've been playing what? We're playing Elden Ring. We're playing Wonderlands. We're playing Horizon. We're playing whatever, the new Uncharted, not the new one, but the revised. This game is a 2012 joint, and it looks like it came out a half hour ago. That's how sick this upgrade looks. I think it looks great, man. Really. And if people don't agree with me, I respect that. But I'm telling you, from someone like myself and you who have now played this game on 3 different consoles, 3 different times, for 3 different prices, this is like the first time all over again. You know? Uh-oh. Yeah, Too Big said, yo, spend that $10, Ham.
Yeah, and I let him know to shut it.
So, I mean, listen, I wasn't happy either when I put that $10 out. I feel you. But at the same time, Ham, it's legitimately a great upgrade. So think about it. Who knows? Maybe they'll actually get nice and around Christmas offer that for $5. Whatever. Like, it's worth it if you want to revisit it. If you said to me, Mooch, I believe everything you're saying, but I'm never playing that game ever again, then don't spend the money. But I'm telling you, I don't want to use the word dare, but I don't see how you would not notice the differences, and it makes this game feel brand new again, Ham. It's interesting. I never would have thought. When I spent the $10, I go, yo, I just lost $10. That's what I said. I'm like, I just gave $10 away. Wasn't even charity. Gave it to Rockstar. They don't need my money.
They sure don't.
No, they don't. And no, listen, just so you know, to keep things real, they're doing a $5.99 or $7.99 a month like subscription service. To hell with that. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, you can miss me with that all the way.
That's not happening. But I just wanted you to know, like, that's the thing. So, like, when it comes down to, I guess, just to wrap it up and go back to our original questions is, I think, I say this all the time when it comes to Game Pass or it comes to $10 extensions or anything. Value is in the eye of the beholder. And it's simply put that way. And I know that some people use that saying now, but in all honesty, it makes a lot of sense. Because if you like a game and you bought the remaster and you bought the edition and you bought the DLC and you bought this and that, and I go, Cam, that game sucks. And you're like, listen, that's your problem, man. I love it. So I can't tell you that the extra $40 you spent on a game isn't worth your $40. I can't do it. I just can't do it. It's like changing free will. You can't change someone's free will, So if that's what you love, that's why I only get upset with the $10 talk when someone says you shouldn't. Because who am I to tell you shouldn't? I could try and talk you into it, and you could do it. The same thing you did to Too Big. You could say to me, you could make Mooch Too Big. Shut it now. I'm done. And we got to shut it, right? But like we can still tell you how good it is, and then you could say shut it down. So, yeah, that's what I think it is when it comes to it. And I got news for you. I'm not going to get every $10 upgrade because it's DualSense. That's not happening. But if it's something I truly love and I'm going to revisit that, listen, you want to know another game? Because you have this as one of your questions, I think, but I'm kind of cutting ahead here. One of my favorite games of all time is BioShock.
Okay.
Okay. And I bought
a crazy story.
It's a crazy ass story, is right. The first time I ever played it was funny as hell, man. It was so it was the 360, right? And I was sick as a dog. I mean, I was 104 temperature, didn't feel good, just on the couch. My brother swings by. He's like, "Yo, you're not feeling good, huh?" And I had my own place at the time. He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Listen, I picked this game up," and I go, "What is it?" He goes, "BioShock," and I'm like, "What? What is that?" I never even heard of it. You know, we're going back to like 2008, 2009 time frame. I think that was around that time. And he throws it down. He goes, "I'm going to pop it in real quick. I'm going to play a little bit. Then I got to bounce because I got to go work." I'm like, "All right." So he's sitting there and he's playing the game. And I'm like, fever, not feeling good.
Yeah. You're just laying there,
just watching it with too much,
all sorts of terrible,
too much Robitussin in my system. You
got enough energy just to look at the TV,
just to look at it, right? And I'm like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? And man, listen, it just hit right. It hit right. So you want to talk about buying a game too many times? I've bought BioShock 1, 2, and 3 on 360. Well, not 3, pardon me, Infinite. Bought them again on PlayStation 4. Bought the collection on Xbox One. Bought the collection for Switch because I had to play BioShock on the road. That don't make no sense, but I did it anyway. This is what I'm saying. So, like, that's crazy to people. But I've played that game on the 360, on the Xbox One. I've platinumed the first one now. I've beaten them all on Xbox. Only platinum the first one on PlayStation. Probably going to do the plat on 2 and Infinite eventually on PlayStation. And then I play BioShock. I'll pop that little cartridge into my Switch and I'll jam out on some BioShock when I'm on the road. I'm traveling. And I like it, man. It's a good game. It's a very good game. Again, I'm not going to try and sell you on that. But that's one of the games that, like, that's when you say what's one of your all-time favorite games. I'm not gonna say it's my favorite game, but it's top 3. It's top 3 for me. Just because of the nostalgia right now and the whole way I kind of got introduced to it. It was awesome. My brother just threw the game down. Like, he went and bought the game and threw it down. We sit here, we talk about game gifting and things like that. It's been a long time since someone just rolled up to the house and be like, "Yo, check this out, Mooch. Throw this game in there."
Right.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, now you got to pull up your profile and download and be like, "All right, let's go drink a few beers. When it's done, we'll come back."
We'll come back, right. It's if your friend after the beers is like, "Yeah, we'll play tomorrow, man. I'm crashing."
Right,
you know
facts.
what I mean? So,
that's happened several times.
Absolutely. So it's been a minute since someone just threw the CD down, a disc down, and said, "Yo, just pop this in and play this. I bought this for you." So yeah, man, that's one of the games. That's one of them right there. So it is what it is. Oh, see, there you go. Two Bigs. He says, "I'm the same as Mooch." He said, with the Binding of Isaac game from Nicholas. So that's awesome. But everyone's got that game, man. Whatever it is, whatever that game, whatever that situation is, whatever you got, that's that game that just links you to gaming. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful pastime, man. People don't really realize it. Like I said, that's my brother doing that. That's family coming through, best friends. I mean, how many times? I mean, we don't do this shit now anymore, right? We don't do this anymore. But some of my favorite nights out were when we used to go and watch Monday Night Football and get wings and beer, and then we all had our tickets in our hand, and we'd all wait in line for because remember Call of Duty used to launch at midnight on Tuesday morning. So we watched Monday Night Football, and then we go and everybody was in line. It was awesome, man. The hype factor, the excitement. And then you got home on the 360, right? And you put the disc in, you let that initial download, which took forever. You guys remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And then I remember talking to my friends. I was like, "Yo, don't fall asleep. Don't you fall asleep. It's 1:00 in the morning. We got to play some Call of Duty. I don't care if it's a work night. We are going to work hurting tomorrow."
Well, if you were smart, you already knew to take take a couple days off. I mean,
well, see, now you're so Ham, you're 100% right. So certain years I would be able to do that. On the ones I couldn't, I still went in hurting. Well, I played till 3:30, 4:00 in the morning, then go in at 7.
Oof.
And I'm not saying it felt good, but it's what we did, And but the excitement, the hype, man, it was Call of Duty launch night when you had to pre-order that game and wait in line. It was see. Shout out to Stank. He said I missed midnight release. You have no idea how much I missed that. That was when we get to do what we're doing right now with people in our community. You know, and that was amazing. It was amazing. You'd link up, trade out gamer tags, hang out, bullshit.
Hey, we're still getting the midnight releases, but they're just in chat now.
Well,
they're just in chat now. They're and like I mean, you can say, "Oh yeah, I can still go to a GameStop or whatever," but it ain't the same as it used to be. I remember when I went to to get the Halo Reach.
How great was that
midnight drop? And that was excellent, dude. There were people in line with those sword balloon things that they used to slap the hell out of each other with. It was like a sword that you can, like, you know, the energy sword, but you could blow them up and like hold them, and people were just running around the parking lot hitting each other with it and whatnot, and it was a great time.
I think it was Modern Warfare 2 or 3 when they gave out the RC car. Remember the car? If you got the deluxe edition, that thing was almost $200 or maybe $250. Dude, there was people out in the parking lot that had gotten there early. They were like, you know, they only had like 3 or 4 of those. And the people who got those, they all had like ramps built and they were like jumping them. Because remember what it was? Was it Modern Warfare 2 or 3? Remember when one of the care packages you'd get was the RC car the first time, and you could be like the car and go blow up?
Yeah, the RCXD.
Yeah, RCXD. So they had those and they were using those in line. Man, it was fun, man. Like it was. So people don't realize
the RCXD was in Black Ops.
Maybe it was Black Ops. I'll stand corrected. I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of those are all like fuzzy memories right now. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But
I get Modern Warfare 2 and 3 mixed up all the freaking time.
Always, dude. Always. And
they're pretty much the same game. It felt like.
Facts. Yes. So like. But like that's the thing. So we've given up that for an amazing amount of convenience. Okay, let's be honest. To be able to buy the game, pre-download the game, play the game at 12:01, we weren't playing. Now I'll give you an example. I went to a midnight release for Wonderlands, but they've shifted it, right? So it wasn't at midnight. This is kind of cool. So it released on Friday. I went Thursday, and GameStop was doing it at 9 p.m. But like Stank was saying in the chat, and you said earlier, the midnight releases or the 9 p.m. releases, there's no hype, there's no excitement. It's about 5 to maybe 12 people in line, and that depending if there's 2 or 3 games releasing at the same time, and everyone just kind of waiting there. Very little talk, get their game and out the door. You know what I mean? It's not like before, where they built the hype up and made you wait outside and all that. You know what I mean? It was crazy. We had a line. The line for Modern Warfare 2 was probably like, it was in a strip mall that we go to, and it was down the ways and around the corner.
Yeah, I've seen lines around buildings.
Right?
Like I remember,
yes.
Like I remember the spot to this day, even though the Best Buy isn't there anymore. But I remember the specific Best Buy where the line would start. And sometimes it'd end up like the line would start to creep into the apartment complex area behind the Best Buy. So like it was insane, like some of these midnight releases. And the thing is not only are you there to be super stoked about the game and releasing and everything like that, but there was an obvious fear of this game might drop and they might sell out and I might not be able to pick it up the next morning.
Right.
And then all my bros are playing the game and I'm just sitting here just
Ham,
with my hands.
FOMO, right?
Yep.
That happens now. Do you realize whether we're talking about Nintendo, Xbox, or PlayStation, all of us in the community, we do more advertising for these games than they do?
Oh, yeah.
The companies?
Oh, yeah, especially the ones that are complaining about it constantly. I'm just like, bro, you're shedding light on something that you want to put darkness on.
Right. That's true. So we're doing the work for these companies, you know? I mean, and we see this all the time when we're like, oh, you know, all honesty, it's going to be, you're missing out. I just did a half-hour pitch for GTA 5.
You sure did.
And I'm not even getting 5%.
You get no percent.
I got 0%. And I'll probably get shit on Twitter for it. You know what I mean? So like my point is like this is what we do. So it's fear of missing out. And I'm a victim too, by the way. I have people all the time be like, "Hey, Mooch, I heard you're passing on this game." I'm like, "Listen, I'm playing this. I'm playing this other game right now. How am I supposed to play that?" And they're like, "Well, listen, man, you're missing out. This is crazy. This is the shit. I haven't played anything like this in my life. I never seen anything like it. The graphics, the this, that, blah, blah. It's insane. The way that they're telling the story, shit's crazy." And I'm like, "Okay, well, apparently I need to go get it. Here's a guy selling me on it. He don't work for anybody." And it's like, bam, there's another 60 to 70 bucks on it. But like, that's the whole thing when it comes down to it is that we don't want to miss out as gamers, right? Because let's put it this way, Ham. We talked before the show, we're talking now. And we've talked about different games and different experiences. What if me and you didn't experience half these games? It's hard to have this discussion, ain't it?
Right. I was going to say we wouldn't really have a whole lot
to talk about. Right. So I think a lot of times, and the one thing that I think is very difficult for a lot of people that are hardcore gamers is we do need to take a minute and pick the games that we want to play and enjoy them. And not just keep playing all the games that come out that are new. There was a period of time where everybody was like, "I'm getting this, I'm getting this, I'm getting this, I'm getting this, I'm getting this." And it's like, well, listen, man, everybody's got a family and work, or some people got kids. Some people got to take care of their house. Some people got to take care of their parents. People got life. People got things going on. These games are, some of them are 80 hours. Some of them are 200 hours. You know, some of them are a lot. Some of them are multiplayer games as a service. They don't end. So it's like you need to pick what you love and focus in on that, your passionate games, and play those games and not just play everything. And by the way, you know who I'm preaching to right now is myself. This is something that I said a long time ago on I said this a long time ago on Crossfire. I was getting all the games that were coming out, and I was finding that I was trying to like rush through them to play them all. Mm-hmm. Like, and I was like, man, it's taking a little bit of the fun out of it. It is.
You ain't lying,
right? So now, listen, I played. You know, it was funny because it kind of goes back to your first point, Ham, when you said, "Hey, so you're a trophy hunter," and it's like, no, I'm not a trophy hunter, but if I love a game. Yeah, I'm gonna complete it. You know, if I love a game, I'm gonna complete it. I'm gonna do that 100% because I truly loved every bit of it, and I don't want it to end. But if there's a game where you beat it, and then you're like, "I'm good," you know, I enjoyed it, but I'm good. Well, then that's fine. Like, you don't have to like move on to the next. But like, I got to a point where you go back 3 years ago, I was just trying to play as many games as possible and ripping through them, and I was only getting like 20% on some and maybe 50% done on certain things. I had to get, and I was like, no, that's got to stop. You got to stop and enjoy what you enjoy. Take your time to enjoy that game. Get the whole thing, the story, the way that the game was put together, the art design, whatever, the music. I mean, shoot, even something like Death Stranding, right? Listen, a lot of people don't like Death Stranding. That's fine. Believe me, I ain't selling you on that one, Ham. But the music in that game, I loved it. You know, and it's funny because gaming really is, it's an artisan. It's an art, it's artwork. You know what I mean? It really is. Something I can't create. So that's why I call it art. I can't do it. So sometimes it's the game. Sometimes it's the story. Sometimes it's the characters. Sometimes it's the voice acting. Sometimes it's the music. Sometimes it's the community, right? Because I mean, Call of Duty Online, let's just be honest, Warzone, I'm going to give people credit that I can't make that game, but it's my friends I play with that make that game so great. It ain't just the right. So I don't like playing Warzone solo. I play with my 4 buddies all the time. You know what I mean? Like that's one of my go-to games. And it's like, it's the community that makes that game so great. So it depends on what it is. It's a different piece of the pie each time. But yeah, if the audience is listening, take your time and enjoy the game you want to enjoy. If you like Sifu just came out, play that game to death. You know, if you like Horizon, you like Zero Dawn, play Forbidden West to death. You're a Souls fan, destroy Elden Ring. You know, do your thing, whatever it is. Like, just finish it. Don't let someone rush you to another game. And I mean, that, by the way, again, I'm preaching to myself because that's what I used to do.
I feel like
and
you're
now
preaching to me because I've ran through several games just this year and just like look back and I'm like, I don't even know if I enjoyed that game or not because I was in such a hurry to beat it, like, you know, skipping cutscenes and and everything just because I'm just like, man, I need to get rid of this backlog. But the fact of the matter is the backlog ain't going nowhere.
No, it ain't. You own it.
Well, we got to be careful with saying that now because there is some issues with, bringing things forward and whatnot. But that's why we talked about earlier with having these consoles, making sure you got stuff on them, having your content. A big thing for we were talking about that with the whole name switch on the PlayStation, with it being kind of scary.
That's right.
So I do think that we do need to hold some of these, like Nintendo and PlayStation and whatnot. Definitely those two we need to hold accountable for, like, hey man, like I bought this for this system and I can't use it on this system now. Or something like that. Like, we need to hold them accountable, but at the same time, you got to kind of watch your own back in those situations.
It.
And that's why I own a PS3, because everyone's like, "Oh, I don't want to play the stream." And I'm like, I ain't playing in stream.
You're like, I'm not. Right. You're like, I'm not. And I agree with you. But again, it's funny because as you're saying it, it's fun. I love being on people's shows because when I'm hosting my show, when you're a host, you're always thinking about the next question and how you're going to poise it and who you're going to ask. So there's a lot the host has to do that I get to sit here and actually digest that full question and that full thought of yours. It gives me, even though it gives me like 10, 15 seconds, that's a lot more time than you get when you're hosting.
Right.
And, I agree with you. And I do think that you're 100% right. PlayStation, Nintendo need to be held accountable at this point in time. But when it comes down to it, if you stop and think about it, when Mike Ibarra got on stage at E3, I believe it was man, don't quote me here. This is probably wrong. So I apologize if I'm wrong. I'll say 2016. Could be wrong. And he said, we are announcing backwards compatibility. Well, you got to remember, Microsoft is a software company. Sony is a hardware company. You can clearly see strengths in both categories on both sides. Microsoft did it first in bringing the backwards compatibility thing and having all that happen. I believe they did it first. Someone's probably going to get upset with me and say, no. I mean, I'm sure PS Now was out. I don't know if PS Now was out there or whatever, but I'm saying the fact that you could put a 360 disc into the Xbox One and it worked and all that good stuff. But right now, I agree with you, Ham, that we need to have them know that this is an important thing for us moving forward right now. But at the same time, it is something new, because if you look behind you and behind me with these old consoles, when we went from OG Xbox to 360, we said goodbye to our OG Xbox game. When we went from the 360 to the Xbox One, we waved goodbye to our 360 games, unless you were going to go play them on your 360. So this is relatively still new. 2016 wasn't 85 years ago. We act like, everything right now is always so fast. Everything right now is always so fast. Like, look at TikTok, right? If a TikTok video isn't fun in the first 8 seconds, you're flipping up, right? We got the attention span of about 8 to 20 seconds. So my point being is that when you look at something from 2016 and say, everything should be like this, I agree with you. But that isn't necessarily as easy as snapping your fingers. And also, again, you have to look at it. Microsoft is a software company. They were able to do that emulation lickety-split. You know what I mean? Where PlayStation definitely had a harder time with it. The tools are there. So, again, I think right now, and I'm not going to use the word every, Ham. But majority of your PS4 games, I would say 90% of the ones you actually played, you could play on your PS5. They're having a hard time with the PS3. Why? I don't know. I'm not on the payroll. I'll never know until someone writes a book.
That, like, cell processor.
The cell processor, yes. Because
I don't know.
I don't know
about any of that stuff.
No, Ham, I don't either. So I'm not going to even touch it. But I'm going to tell you this much: if you have PS Now, you can download PS1 and PS2 games to your PS5. Not streaming. Download them. It's just the PS3. So Sony keeps getting this shit from a lot of the people in the gaming community because they're like, yo, how come I can't play my PS3 games? Why do you keep saying I got to stream them? They haven't figured it out, or it's too costly for them right now. Do I think between today, Ham, and the end of this generation, I got this weird feeling, could be wrong, might be the last day of the generation before the PS6 comes out. But I think before this generation's out, I think you'll be able to emulate your PS3 games finally onto your PS5. And there was just an article 2 weeks out that said PlayStation it's a rumor, but it came from a decent source. It wasn't one of the people saying, like a state of plays tomorrow, and it never happens. It's not one of those. It was something that said basically insider knowledge that they are working on something to emulate PS3 games on your PS5. The article They should. Absolutely. This is where it goes back to your point. We need to hold them to that. So we do. And that's the bottom line. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. We need to hold them to that. But at the same time, it's clearly not something they don't want to do. The PS1 games download, the PS2 games download, the PS4 games download. You know what I mean? They didn't just skip PS3 because it was a good time. They're going to make money off that. So, because think about it. The minute the PS3 games can be downloaded to your PS5, they can put those into the store. You can start buying those games. So they can't do it right now. They want to make that money. Trust me. They want that money. So once they can do it on terms, then it'll be out there. Someone said, well, Mooch, there's people doing it on PC. Listen, again, now I'm like you, Ham. I can't speak to that. I don't know. I don't crack codes. I don't know any of that stuff. So if there's people doing it, I tip my cap to them. If I worked for Sony, I'd find out who did it and say, listen, I'm not mad. Tell me what you did. You know what I mean? Get over here, sit in the seat, make some money, and do it for me. That's what I would do. But, that's just that New Yorker in me. You know what? Somebody in New York finds out someone's doing it better. You don't get mad. You go hire them. So, right?
Yes. And that's what a lot of us are saying. It's like, man, Nintendo, like, you can say that, oh man, this is hard, or we don't want to deal with paying for this or whatnot, but you can't turn around and get mad when somebody else figured it out. Right. And they're doing it. And then and then you want to go on ahead and say, oh, we're going to sue you if you continue to do this. And it's like, no, you're not giving me a choice. Like I don't want to, and I feel like this is most people. I don't want to go from pawn shop to video game shop looking for every single console. I mean, me personally, I find that fun. But majority of the people out there that want to play Mario Kart, they want to play these like Diddy Kong Racing, WrestleMania 2000, freaking, all these crazy old Nintendo games. I'd say probably 99%, if not even more, they ain't trying to go get a 64 right now. But if you give them the option to purchase it on their Switch, it's bought yesterday.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
So I mean, I just don't understand how Sony and Nintendo see that people. I mean, maybe it's just not a rowdy enough crowd yelling yet, which I personally thought that was the reason that they didn't bring that to the PS3 and how it's still streaming PS3 games and whatnot. Because I don't feel like there's a crowd, a big enough crowd angry about it, because we've seen PlayStation switch up after they brought up Horizon. They switched that up fast. Yep. They switched up Xbox switched up that Xbox Gold thing in a day. Like, we can see
yes they did
these people fix these things up, but those are also them fixing it up because of just such an uproar of frustration and anger. Mm-hmm. But the thing that's different about that compared to this PS3 thing is you have people defending, oh, just move on.
Yeah.
Why are you so worried about that? And there isn't enough people to fight back the other direction.
So, the thing about that, Ham, is this is what I always say, because, been doing this for a very long time. Well, for me, it's been a long time doing this. When you have something drastic on either side that says what you just said, or someone that you spoke to that says, we'll just move on, it doesn't really matter. Listen, that's kind of how that person feels, and that's not how the majority of us feel. And I think a majority of people would agree with you. I think you just saw a couple, was it Matt? No, it was Stank. He said, I wish I had my PS3, been itching to play Metal Gear Solid 4. So majority of people feel how you feel, Ham. So remember, Twitter. When was the last time you went to the mall, Ham?
Like to go to the mall?
Yeah, you went to the mall to go buy anything.
Not
I don't
that
care.
I ended up in the mall.
No, you just went to whatever. When was the last time you just were in the mall?
Okay, I'd have to say a few months ago, but
okay.
I kind of feel like I see where you're going with this.
No, what I was gonna say to you was, imagine now you know me through what we do here, right? But let's say you're in the mall and you're wearing an Atlanta Braves hat, and I'm a Mets fan because you guys know that I tweet that out too much. Okay, and I just yell to you from the other side of the partition, on the other side of the mall. The Braves suck. You're going to do two things, maybe three. You're going to see my hat, say the Mets suck. You're going to be like, I don't even give a shit or know who that dude's talking to. Keep walking. Or you're going to come over and throw me over the balcony. My point being is this, right? Hear me out, right? That's fine. All three, I get you. But hear me out. My point being is when someone says something like, something wild or crazy on Twitter or the internet, it's like someone yelling something crazy to you. Like, I don't like the shirt you're wearing at the mall. You don't even care. You're not losing any sleep. You didn't lose your appetite. Didn't stop you from what you're about to go buy. You just kept moving. Your day kept happening. So when someone says something really, really wild and out, like, PS3 emulator should never exist. Who cares, Ham? Move on. That's the same as someone saying they don't like my shirt. I don't really care. Because, the point of the matter is that we know that that's what we want. Now, Sony, and my point is this. People think where the argument's wrong is people are like, well, Sony doesn't want to do it. That's not true. Because they want to make money. And they already made these games. You know what I mean? It's like if right now I could sell every Crossfire again for half price. I'd love to. You'd love to sell every behind them sticks. Be like, let me tell you, you know what? Listen, no, Ham, don't make any more behind them sticks. We want to buy all the ones you already made. You'd be like, all right. Yeah, I'll take that royalty. This is my point. So Sony wants to do it. They just clearly haven't figured it out. That's a them problem. They need to work on it. And you're right. Where you're right is we do need to hold them to it. We do need to hold them to it. And Nintendo... it's probably worse.
Yeah, they're easily worse. Like, I feel like it's the difference of Sony has, like a high school crowd mad where Nintendo got like the NFL stadium angry.
Yes.
They got so old. Or let me even take it a level up than that. They got the Olympic frustration going on over there.
Absolutely.
With old school games.
Yes.
And people, yeah.
Well, I got so I'm pretty excited. I ain't gonna lie. I'm so excited. I got to talk about it right now. The Steam Deck. I'm getting the Steam Deck tomorrow.
Let's go.
Yes, sir. I'm very excited. So the first thing I was talking to a bunch of people was they're like, Mooch, you gotta get that Nintendo emulator and play all those Nintendo games. I was like, listen. I ain't doing that. I'm still a traditionalist. I'm gonna be real with you, Ham. Like, I'm so excited to get it because I want to play. I have Steam, right? I got a gaming PC, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I work all day in front of a computer, and then I come home, and if I'm making content or I'm podcasting, or I'm Twitch streaming for 3, 4, 5 hours a rip, I'm in front of this computer. Like, I don't want to play PC games in front of my PC. And I understand, yes, I do have it also hooked up to a TV in my office, but there's nothing like playing PlayStation and Xbox. See how I see that comfortable chair right over to your left side. You know what I mean? Like, that's where I want to sit. I want to sit in my comfortable chair, have my TV, my feet up, you have a drink, right?
I'm a console gamer.
I'm a console gamer through and through. But I do travel every once and again for work. And that's only because of now with COVID, that's kind of slow. I understand COVID is ending kind of, but travel hasn't linked up as much as it used to. But I used to travel a lot. Now I travel a little, but the lot's going to come back. And like all I was ever doing was bringing my Switch on the road. And look, yes, I got BioShock Collection. What else did I pick up? I picked up another like game that we would consider something from the 360 era that was a collection they had. I can't remember it now off my head, but whatever. Like, I don't want to play Mario and Zelda on the road. You know, I'm looking forward, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm
I played
right
Smash
now.
Brothers for like an hour on an 8-hour drive, and I was like, this isn't it.
Yeah, it's not doing it. It's not it. It's not it. So now to have the Steam Deck and to be able to go out there and play and continue my Elden Ring game, right? Or to be able to play Hades, or to be able to play a game I want to play. I don't care what it is. I can even play God of War right now on it. So like, there's just things that you can do on that, and I think that that's intriguing and fun. Might be the most fun since the PS Vita came out, or the PSP if you're really dating yourself. Or the Game Gear if you really want to go nuts, which I got behind me on the. I got that. I got that right here.
Man, the Nomad was the original Switch.
Yes, absolutely. So I mean, I'm excited for that kind of stuff, but I pay the Nintendo yearly online fee because I want those. I like the back. They only trickle a couple to you, and most of them sometimes suck. They give you the shitty ones, but. Like it's a decent SNES and NES collection now that you get with your yearly subscription.
Right.
And listen, I'm nostalgic as hell, right? Like I grew up then, I get it. I sometimes play some of those older SNES games and I wish I didn't, Ham. You know why? I'll play them and I'm like, damn, that game was better in my memory.
Yeah. Oh yes.
You know what I'm saying?
My goodness. That's how I feel when I turn on like Road Rash. Like, please bring back Road Rash.
Yes.
But when I turn that on now, I'm just like, man, like if I stop playing this game, I have to write down the code and then put it somewhere to remember to come back to it so I don't have to start all over again. Which that was your memory card if your game didn't come with a battery back in the day.
That's right.
And just doing that, like it turned a game that was like something that I played regularly after school into now is like really arcade for me. Like I can't play it for more than like an hour or two.
Really?
Well, I mean, it's old ass Road Rash. I mean, like it's really fun, but like after a few hours of it, I'm just like, yeah. I mean, kind of like you said, like that was a lot better in my memory. I didn't need to redrive down that road, but I did, and now I kind of remember why I didn't continue to play this once I got a PlayStation or something like that. You know?
Well, that's it. And you know, listen, that like you said, that's just what. Our minds play tricks on us, and that's why my old catch slogan was "Nostalgia is a hell of a drug," because you sit there, right, and you think it's just like the best game ever. I talk about Castlevania like it was like The Last of Us. You know what I mean, like that level. And then I went back and played it, and listen, you got to give it credit. It still is just an amazing game in my mind. But you go back and play Castlevania right now. Listen. You're not going to get on and do a podcast about it. You know, you're not going to talk. You're going to, you know, all you're going to do is be like, yeah, so I played some Castlevania. Anyway, next topic. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to hear about that. And in your mind, you're going to be like, man, it's just not the same. You know what I mean? It's just not the same. So, yeah, I'm with you on that. I can only play it for a bit. And that's what sucks about the old games. You still got to play them, unless I'm wrong, guys. And please, I hope somebody in your chat can tell me I'm wrong. But when you go back and play those classics on the Switch right now, you still got to beat that game. There's no save. Like, you can't get to the second castle or the second area of Castlevania and then be like, yeah, I'm going to call it right now.
Well,
you start over
there is
again.
That one feature on the Switch where you like hit the top buttons or something like that and you can freeze the game.
You can freeze the game, but you can't shut the console off.
Yeah.
That's all I meant. But yes, you can freeze the game. 100%.
That's your best bet. But now you got the Steam Deck now, so you're going to be playing games like Horizon and stuff like newer.
I want to play newer titles. I want to play newer titles. I also want to play, like, I'll give you an example. Like, I bought Dying Light 2 on Steam.
Okay.
And so anyways, I bought it on Steam, and I played probably about 10 hours of it on Steam. And then Horizon came out. And I didn't go back. And you may or may not know this about me. I told you a little bit about it earlier about how I love The Walking Dead. I know it's only me and BitCloud left that still love it in the gaming community space. We're the only two to talk about it that I know of. And Paul Tassi from Forbes, he writes a lot about it. So shout out to Paul and Bit. But what's funny is I love Dying Light, man. I played the original Dying Light. I probably put about 80 or 85 hours into it. Absolutely loved it. When the Xbox One first came out, played with 4 friends. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Got it on PC, played with friends, had fun, but I just got pulled away by Horizon, A. B, again, Ham, I just didn't have that much fun playing at my desk. You know, I mean, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Like, if I told you right now, look, I can see your PS5, your Xbox, right? With your TV right there, nice, comfortable chair couch. If I said, now do me a favor, Ham, after this show, unplug that, hook it up to the monitor you're using right now, just game right there. You're gonna do it, but you ain't gonna be happy.
Hell no, man. I can't. I mean, I got an electric reclining chair.
Thank you.
There.
So there you go. That's it. That's the beginning and the end of the conversation.
I have to constantly adjust myself in this chair because it's not. Like
That's what I'm doing
couch.
every time you go, hey Mooch, I got a question for you. I gotta be like, all right, let me get comfortable again. Hold on. You know. Because you're right. It's like I'm using a PC, like a gaming chair. Who the hell made these? What are they thinking? This is not comfortable, dude. It's not comfortable. Somebody at the gaming chairs, call up Lazy Boy, make a phone call. Get these people working together. But yeah, no, I'm just not doing that. You know what I mean? I'm not doing it. But I am looking forward to playing, like you said, some AAA bangers. Like on the couch. Like, think about it. There's times you're hanging out, your friends are over, or the missus is watching something. Now I can just sit there, hook up a set of really premium headset, and jam out on I can farm an Elden Ring. I mean, there's certain games, let's be honest, on a little screen like that, I'm not going to take away the essence of having the big screens like we have, that we game on. But, like, Hades is perfect for that. I would definitely grind a bit on Elden Ring. Like I said, I haven't had much time to think about it. I probably would play a little bit of Dying Light. I don't know how that would work. I don't know if that would work well or not so great when it comes to a screen that size. I don't know. I got to be honest with you. I don't know. Because the Switch, remember, games for the Switch were made with that screen in mind. So the Steam Deck, different situation. They're saying, hey, we made a platform that plays your favorite games on here. Well, that ain't the same thing. You know?
Yeah, it's like I mean, it's
a case-by-case situation.
Machine. That's all
right.
That thing is.
That's right. So it's a case-by-case. It's a game-by-game situation. I think certain games on the Steam Deck are going to play and feel like they were meant to be. And I think certain games may look good. They may even perform well. But the way the screen is, it may not. It just may not play the way I want to play it. You know what I mean? So I think that's going to be just a trial and error type of thing. I'll let you know next time we get together, Ham. I'll be like, listen, I've been playing with Steam Deck now for about a month or two. I found these types of games are killer, and I found these types of games. Yeah, you could play, but I don't think you're enjoying yourself the same way you are with your TV and your feet up and all that surface area to enjoy all the artwork and what's happening on screen. So there's different elements to it. Really, there is. So I don't know. It's coming tomorrow. Gonna jump in head first, pick up a couple games, see what's good. Nothing crazy. Probably something on Steam, whatever they got on sale. Just pick some games up that are fun to play. Shit, I'd even pick up. Of course, I love when I'm on a show and I'm guesting that I always forget the name of the game. It's trial and error, and you're a dirt bike, and you keep every time you die, you got to try and make the end of the course. Trials.
Oh, that.
It's called Trials.
Oh yeah, the free game and.
Yeah, well, no, it's not. Well, it's usually like $20 or $30, but yeah, it's been on Xbox. It's on PlayStation. I think
I got it on Gold for free.
Yes, it was on Gold for free. Absolutely. So my point is those are games where when I'm just passing some time, that would be a fun game to kind of just jam out on. No, you don't get the Steam Deck for that kind of game only. I get it. But I'm just saying, those are games that you can get on the cheap right now. You can probably pick those games up on Steam for like $3 or $4, $5. So you can pick up a bunch of those types of games, just have them on there. And that's just games you can switch in and out and just keep yourself busy. You know, that's busy
Right.
play. That's
That's
busy
the,
play.
yeah, that's that doctor's office game.
That's that
right
doctor's office. That's that, you know, we got a 45-minute trip to here, or, you know, I'm waiting outside. Or maybe you're just tailgating. You know, I'm going to see a couple Mets games. We're tailgating. We're bullshitting. You already had your sausage and peppers. You already got a couple beers in you. You know, you're just sitting there. Game doesn't start for 2 hours. You know, you just something while you're talking with your friends, just to bullshit and jam out, you know? So there's those types of busy games that are a lot of fun to play too, and I'm looking forward to grabbing those. Those are games. You might go, Mooch, that's not why you get a Steam Deck. I got it, but I can't play those games on Steam or on Switch. I can't play them on Switch. They're not there. So these are now it opens up that whole third-party menu. The whole third-party menu that me and you love from the 360 version to today. All those third-party games you could have in your hands anywhere. Some will work out, some won't.
You should have called it the emulation station.
I think they would have liked that, but it would have pissed some people off. But yeah,
Oh, for sure. Nintendo, Nintendo
kind of like the ring to that.
But we better move on because we got these questions and we've been down.
Yeah, listen, I got news for you. I'm going to let you in on a little secret here. Anytime Mooch is ever a guest on anyone's show, A, it runs long, and B, we never finish the questions. I talk too much, dude. When I saw all those questions, I'm like, I hope he wants to go till 8 a.m.
Oh, man, well, we ain't doing that. That's
No, we aren't.
Sure.
No, we got to eat and game, man. We got some things to do.
Facts. So I'm just gonna go on ahead and just flat out say it. Like, we just got done talking about all this stuff, so we can see gaming is important to you, but I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. Like, why is it something that you feel like you need to like do content for? And I mean, obviously you got your family into it and everything like that. So like, what was like that pinnacle moment for you in gaming? Because I doubt it was the ColecoVision.
No, it was not. The pinnacle moment, man. I can tell you a point in time that, you know, as we all get older, right? And you said it yourself, Ham. We play so many different games as we go through. One of my favorite times, you remember, like, you know, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've got what you'd call, in air quotes, a winter break. You know what I'm talking about when we see that? Remember that week off in school between Christmas and New Year's?
Oh, yeah.
So
that was like some of the best times to be alive.
Absolutely. So we had, so if I'm getting games and times wrong, I don't have the years down in my mind, but there was 1 or 2 years. I was probably about 13. We had that week off. And me and my brother, we asked our parents, we said, hey, can we just like lay a bunch of like blankets and pillows? We want a game like for a week. Like, not like, don't even ask us to do anything. We want to just game for a week. And we got a bunch of games for Christmas. That's all we asked for. And there was this one Christmas, parents didn't do this every Christmas, but they did this one Christmas. And they just, they got us the few games that we wanted. And I'm trying to think of the games. I know one of them was, Mortal Kombat, but I'm trying to think. There was 2 or 3 other games, and we just rotated games, those 3 or 4 games, and we played. And we played those till our fingers bled. I'm not shitting you. Like, I literally, by that Thursday of that week, I had like 4 or 5 Band-Aids wrapped around my thumb, you know, because I was trying to do all the combos. I'm not lying. You know, we were doing all the combos, and we were having so much fun, man. And I actually had to take, I think on Friday, I literally had a rest. I didn't play. My brother was playing. I was like, I can't even play. Because we were doing, remember, I'm talking about the NES and the SNES days. Those were unforgiving controllers. And I was doing all the different moves for Street Fighter and all the different moves for Mortal Kombat. And like all those moves, you know, they were like the cross or the cursor, okay, was very sharp on the edges.
Yes.
It hurt. Like,
man, those Sega ones, man.
Yes, it got bad. So long story longer, when you say what was the defining moment, that week, that was the week that I knew I was like, this is just something that like I love. Like, I can't wait to come home and play. I can't wait to enjoy, like, Final Fantasy also. So like Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3, going way back now. Everybody talks about, everyone's like, well, I really like 14. I thought 15 was good. 16's going to show them. I'm like, how about 1, 2, and 3? Nobody talks about 1, 2, and 3.
Nobody does.
Nobody talks about 1, 2, and 3. And I beg people, go play 1, 2, and 3. those games, man, that was when you bought a game and the entire map was in the game when you took it out of the box, and you had you had a guide, like the booklet. Each page had the different enemies, their weaknesses, what they were, how they were derived.
Bro, sometimes
the
without the
artwork.
guides, you couldn't even really continue the game.
Who you telling? That's exactly the truth. So I had that whole thing plastered out, everything that came in the game. We didn't have any extra stuff. We just had whatever came in the box. And we were just kind of like, we would put marks down on where we went and farmed. You know what I mean? Where we got to go to get the different magic from the mages and this and that. And like, it was an amazing time, man. It was an amazing time to game. And I would say that's the defining moment, that 1 week where I played for the longest amount of time of, like, I never really got that kind of time again, you know, but no matter if it was high school or it was college. Then when you start working after college, it's different, man. You just don't have that kind of time. But the other part of your question, because you asked two different questions. I think you know that you said when was the gaming, time of your life that kind of really got you to love gaming. And then you said, why do I do the content creating?
Yeah, I went on ahead and put those two questions together.
Yeah, so the content creating part of it is, I really enjoy. I think we kind of touched on this right when we started the show. I really like hearing different people's opinions, and the only thing I ever ask is, you can't say, like if I go, hey Ham, why is it you like this? And you're like, because. Well, I'm like, well, why? Because I like it. Yeah, but why? Because. Well, we're not getting anywhere, right? Like, I want you to disagree or to agree with me, but why? And always ask the question why. People say to me all the time on Crossfire that don't agree with me. They'll say to me in the chat, Mooch, I don't know why you care about that. And I'll go, that's fair, but I'm wondering why you don't care. Like, when we're talking about what's going on with the industry and what's happening with Game Pass and what's happening with this and what's going on with that, and now games are 70 instead of 60 and this and that, people go, why do you care, Mooch? Just play the games. Well, yes, I could do that. But if I do that, why have a show? Right? My whole thing of doing a show is to ask why and actually get answers to some of the harder questions. And that to me is why I do it. I love it. I love sports radio. Again, I'm from New York. I love the New York Giants. I like the Mets. I know some people are gonna.
Ooh, Giants fan, let's go.
Are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
Thank you, by the way. Not many people agree with me after I say that.
Awful.
We are extra awful, but we got new management and we're looking good. But you know this.
Get a new quarterback, please.
Daniel Jones ain't bringing us to the promised land. That's for damn sure. But right now, we don't have a high enough pick, and this is not this year's draft is not quarterback heavy.
No, it's not.
So I think the first three picks, the predictions on the first three picks are going defensive end. So my point being, though, is like I love New York sports. So I'll give everyone an example in the audience that's listening right now. And Ham, this is cool for you to know too, because me and you just recently started podcasting and talking to each other in the past year. Is I love the Mets. Like, I've loved the Mets since I was as young as I can possibly remember. And I listen to SNY, Sports Radio, AM 660, The Fan. And do you know what they do most of the time? They make fun of the Mets. And I listen to them because I like that. Shout out to Too Big. Says fly, Eagles, fly. All right, I knew we were going to have an NFC rivalry in here. I knew it. But that's okay. That's good, Too Big. I love it. Stank says, too bad you're a Giants fan. I hear you, Stank. Trust me. I got to live with it. But we're going to come back. We will come back. We got history. But the reason I do what I do, to get back to your question, though, Pam, I'm not just going on a rant here, is I like listening to sports radio because just like everything with sports, right? I don't want to tune into the Mets channel and be like, yeah, the Mets are great. How great are the Mets? Man, they won today, Ham. Ham, let's talk about all 9 innings and how great they were. Did you see Pete Alonso? Man, that man can hit the ball. Holy shit, his first stop saved the game in the 10th inning today against the Giants, which, by the way, it did. But nonetheless, I don't want to hear that. You know what I want to hear? What's wrong with DeGrom's shoulder? Why is it 2 years this man's not playing ball and making $30 million, right? That's New York sports. We get up in your face, even when you're a fan. And I like that. I bring that energy. I hope I do. That's what I try to do. I try to bring that energy to gaming. So that's why a lot of my hashtags are hashtag who's yelling. I love when somebody new comes to Crossfire. You'll see somebody in the chat and be like, who's this guy yelling? That's the host. It's the damn host. Can't kick him off. Yeah, so I love that stuff, right, Ham? I like to bring that energy. I like it. So I do the creative content, and I love going. Listen, this is the third show in 3 weeks I've guested on. You guys all know I was on Lord Cognito's show 2 weeks ago. I was on Kofi Press Start podcast last Thursday. And then I always do my show, and I also do some Twitch streaming. I'll always go on shows. And I love to talk to the audience. I love to talk to the hosts of the shows. I prefer to be a guest than a host.
Same. I think everybody kind of does.
I think everybody does.
It's your moment to kind of either talk about yourself or talk about your feelings.
Yes.
So in there, I don't know anybody that doesn't enjoy talking about themselves.
Well, you know what? That's just there's no better time to talk about yourself than since social media has come out.
Oh, facts.
Right? But yeah, it's like if you said to me, Mooch, come over, I'm making dinner. I'd rather go eat at your house than I cook for you. Right? You know what I mean? Because I get to sit there and you're like, I'm sorry, Mooch, dinner ain't going to be ready for another half hour. I'm like, Ham, take your time. I ain't doing shit. You know what I mean? Right. I don't care. So, like, you know what I mean? So, like, when you're like, I got another question, I'm like, go ahead. So it's like, I love that. I love having those discussions. And sometimes, like I say, they are good debates. Actually, Ham, me and you were on K-Megas.
Yep.
And it's like, shout out to K-Mega, by the way. I've known K-Mega for a very long time. And, you know, me and K, actually, believe it or not, we agree on a lot of things. Even though a lot of times on different shows, people know that there are things. Just think about it. If you're a host and you know so-and-so and so-and-so have different views, it's good to see if you can ask them both to bring up their different views on particular topic.
Yeah.
Makes for a
you
good
want
show.
A little triggering. You want a little triggering.
Well, you got to. You know what I mean? You got to get well. People get triggered mixed up with my I guess my volume. I can bring my volume up and not be triggered. But people think, you know, they're like, well, he's getting loud. That's what I do. I do that in real life.
Wasn't it you and Attic going at it?
Oh, me and Attic always go at it. But I love Attic. He's one of my favorite people to podcast with. And I'm not saying that because you brought his name up. If you said to me right now, Mooch, write 3 people down that you love to have on a podcast to go back and forth with, Addict's one of them. Because you know what? At the end of the day, Addict is probably one of the best reviewers and probably one of the best critics of all consoles across the board. People don't realize it, but Addict he's harsh on Xbox too.
Oh yeah.
So he's, you know, people just see, you know, he's Addict and he loves Xbox. He does love Xbox, but he's very fair and he's very good at being fair across the board. So Addict, by the way, Addict has the golden key. Like Addict, if you guys watch Crossfire, if you watch Crossfire religiously, you'll see Addict just jumps on when he hears something that he's got. When I'm not saying he's triggered, but when he's like, I got to talk right now, he just jumps on the show. Like I don't even have to invite him; he just jumps on the show. And one time he said to me, he's like, "Yo, Mooch, you mind if I hop in on this topic?" I'm like, "Dude, why'd you even ask? Just jump in." You know, I like that. So that's the thing, though. See, that's the difference between me. So when people are like, "Oh, well, Mooch feels this way, and I don't like Mooch," well, then you're not really listening, because I'm not somebody that's so staunch against what you feel that we can't talk about it. You know, you got to be able to talk about it, and everyone's going to have a point. Sometimes it goes to the craziest degree, but you got to remember too, that's just how, like, I enjoy content. Like I said to you, I'm always listening to, I was always listening to like Shock Jock Radio, right? Back in the 90s, with whether it was Stern or somebody back then or something that was on, you know, they were all on the airwaves back then before they all went to satellite. And then there's all the sports radio in New York. And it's just like, everybody's always like controversial, right? Because like, if you're not going to do something that's entertaining, like for me, That's where I get my desire, to answer your question, Ham. Like, that's why I do what I do. I like to have that interaction with people. And I want you to leave. I've had so many people that if you just listen to the show, after we get done with every Crossfire, dude, we all hang out for it could be anywhere from 10 minutes to 35 minutes. I've been on post shows that go longer than the podcast. I've been on post shows that go 2.5 hours after the show's over because we keep talking about it. And it's great. And at the end, everyone's like, yo, this was awesome. Because that's what it is. It's supposed to be a difference of opinion coming to an area to discuss how you feel. There's nothing wrong with having a show where you all agree, but that's just not necessarily, like, for me. Like, there's a reason you do your content. There's a reason I do my content. My content is I like to bring different walks of life and different opinions and see if we either all at the end agree. And if we all don't agree, guess what? Still all good. Nothing changed from the 2 hours we were on it. You still got taxes to pay and go to work. You know? So it's not like anything I'm going to say is going to change your life, but it may make you think about it. I've had people come on after they were on for a few weeks, come on maybe 6 weeks later, and they're like, yo, last time I was on the show, you said this, and it actually resonated with me. I thought about it, and I saw what you mean. Some people say, I agree with you. Some people say, I still don't agree with you, but I see what you mean. And I didn't think about it that way. And I've said the same thing to others. And that's important. You know, that's such an important thing. I like that.
It's
so yeah,
literally learning.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. I think that's the best way to put it. And if you don't mind, I'm going to mooch that off you. That's exactly what it is, right?
That's your name.
That's it, man. Whenever I can. You know what I'm saying? I remember somebody once said to me, they're like, how come you mooch, you like that name? I said, let me tell you why. Ham, if you made an Italian mixed sandwich and I made an Italian mixed sandwich, I bet yours tastes better than mine. You know why? Because you made it and I didn't have to. I would much rather eat your pizza, your sandwiches, your soda, your beer. How many times you go to your friend's house and they got a beer you don't like in the fridge? What do you say?
I still drink it.
I'll take one.
You're right. I hate Bush,
you know
but
why?
every time I show up to a party that got Bush, I'm drunk on Bush.
Not only that, you're like, this shit's going down smooth and refreshing this time. You even make a comment like that, and you know that's bullshit.
The second or third one,
but you're like, bro, why is this Bush all of a sudden very refreshing? You know why? You didn't pay for it. That's why it tastes better when it's someone else's. Everybody's a mooch. It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
So, you know, it is what it is, man. I always joke around with stuff like that. But yeah, so that's my whole thing with the content creator, you know.
Okay. Well, now I need to know, like, let's go back to your past one more time, and let's see what your most memorable console was of all time. So, like, the most beloved one that, like the collection that you got.
Yeah.
If somebody were to take and I want to keep the new consoles out of it. I want you to tell me anything from PS4 down.
Okay, that's fair.
What would be the console that you would be like, all right, I'm stranded on a desert island for like 2 months, and I can only bring this?
Okay, so I like the way you first posed the question. I'm not going to use the desert island thing because you know why? Because if you say the desert island thing, I'm just going to pick because I'm on a desert island. So I got to pick the best thing I could possibly pick. So I'm picking, right? So I'm picking PS4. Here's how I'm going to pose the question. Hear me out. Ready?
Okay.
From PS4 down, which is the era I would like to relive again?
Oh, okay. That's a, man. Yeah, look at us stealing
you know why?
things
Because
from each other.
on the island, I want the
that.
PS4 and the Xbox One. You know, because I got to take the best one, you know, because I'm stuck there for a minute. Hopefully, Ham, I don't lose you. Do you still hear me, Ham?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, good. My PC, for some reason, will just sometimes, I got to shut it off. Sometimes it'll just go to sleep. It'll be like, you know what? I'm going to take a nap. I'm like, all right, well, wish you told me ahead of time because it shuts everything down. No, but what I was saying,
like those old school TVs where it says, like, gives you the countdown of the sleep. Remember?
Yes. Yes. And honestly, I love that. By the way, No, but it's like this one
Stressed out
monitor
looking
I
for the
have.
controller.
Yeah, it's like, man, what the hell's going on with this one monitor? Anyway, I'll figure that out later. But nonetheless, so the one I would say honestly that I would not want to miss out on, man, that's a tough question. You know this. I'm gonna say the 360. I guess the 360 for me. That's, you say you're going from the 2006, 2007 era of my life, which was like my young adult, right?
Okay.
So, I just had that was when you had your freedom, and I was out and like I said to you, that was the midnight releases. It was gaming until 3 a.m. It was linking up with a bunch of friends that you knew from high school, college, etc. After that, and then also meeting amazing people with Xbox Live, right?
It was like the best of both worlds.
It really was. It really, really was. And so for me personally, that's the console I gotta say that I thought really I couldn't live without. And let's not forget, a lot of the games that me and you were talking about tonight that we love right now originated in that era, so
a lot of those games are what's being like that generation and the generation before it are just filled with as of now are filled with remakes.
Yes, and I mean that's the whole thing there. I think that would be probably the console that I would say is the one that I missed the most.
360.
360.
I wouldn't have expected you to say that, so I'm happy I asked that question.
What'd you think I was going to say?
I thought you were going to say something Nintendo wise, or
well, because here's the thing. That's why I said it's a fair question. It's just it's a hard one to answer, because if I go the NES or SNES route, which by the way that is a suitable answer, but if I go that route with you, Ham, that's me discussing youth. And let's be honest, I didn't have keys to a car back then. I had my bike, right? And wherever my bike could take me, I had limited time to game because, you know how parents were. Parents aren't going to let you stay up till 2 a.m. on a Wednesday.
right?
So it was limited. So I would say the reason I say 360 was it was an outstanding time to game. It was when online gaming really shined on console. And I mean, as far as being able to, you know what I mean? Xbox Live allowed me to talk to people I haven't talked to in years because they didn't live where I lived anymore. They moved. So that's a big deal, So there's that. And then there was just the freedom to be able to game when you want to game. So, and then the classic IPs, Gears of War, BioShock, Mass Effect. I mean, it's crazy, this shit that came out in the 360 era. And PS3 era. I mean, that's why the PS3 is such a big deal. I'm not going back on that old subject, but that's why that's such a big deal to bring that back to people to play. You don't want to. That's that one generation you don't want to miss. So I gotta say Xbox 360 because I played. I was on the 360 95% of the time that generation.
Okay. Now, of all these games that you play,
yes,
I want to know the genre that Mooch just doesn't really. I shouldn't say enjoy, but something that you would, look in your backlog and say, I'm gonna wait.
Yeah. So the genre or the game?
Genre, entire genre.
That's I'm gonna I'm gonna tell you the truth, but I'm gonna tell you a lot of people who are listening are gonna be like, no shit. I don't like the Telltale stuff. I don't like any of that. Let's just walk around and look at something, click on it, tell a story for 20 minutes.
Gamer loves those games.
Yeah, well, me and Crap. Let me tell you something. That's what the great dynamic is with me and Crap is. Me and Crap known each other for a very long time. We talk every day, and we have very different tastes. Like people think because we do shows together that we're just like completely think the same, game the same. We don't game the same games. We both know that. We talk about it all the time. Yeah, Crap likes those. I don't really particularly like those types of games. They don't hold my interest long enough. It's not anything wrong with the game. If you like that kind of game, that's awesome. I'm not gonna tell you stop playing it. But you can't say to me, "Hey, Mooch, next Thursday, we both taking a day off." Why? Life is Strange Part 4 is coming out. I probably ain't stopping. I ain't stopping working. Or Telltale's version of, Borderlands, Tiny Tina's Wonderland's coming out. You got to play this. Probably not doing it. Like even Until Dawn, which I thought was, I love horror. Like I love horror movies. I love zombie games. People are tired of zombie games. I'm not. But that like Until Dawn, I actually liked the story, and that was still a bit of a tough get through. You know what I mean? For me,
Okay.
like I mean, does that count as a genre of games? I don't know if that's like, I don't even know how to actually describe that. Whatever, storytelling. I don't know. I would say that that's probably the group of games that I would play the least, or have played the least in the last, I don't know how many years.
Okay, now this question's pretty interesting. I kind of want to know, like, of all time, and you could go to the past if you want to.
Sure.
I know not all of these developers are around anymore. But what would be your favorite studio, and what game best represents that one?
Okay, so I'm gonna answer just kind of, this is like speed round. I'll kind of say my favorite studio probably right now, based off of not off of games that came out today, but off of games I've played and absolutely adored. I would probably say Naughty Dog is my favorite studio right now. I know that sounds very top shelf, but if you were to see behind me, I have an entire like bookcase dedicated to The Last of Us, and The Last of Us 2. Like I love the zombie post-apocalyptic world. I really, really do. And I haven't played a game like The Last of Us or any other game. I love Dying Light. I told you I put 85 hours into. I'm going to play Dying Light 2. I'll eventually, when I finally sit down and actually do that, I'll put another 100 hours into that one easy. Just because I love that genre. I can walk around that world forever. But Naughty Dog's, their storytelling, their voice acting, the gameplay, the way you kind of just get absolutely and just you dive in head first into that story and you just get immersed into it. I really, really like what they do. And then if you take a step back and you look at the Uncharted games, I never really liked the gunplay in Uncharted. Thought that was always the weakness. They did a better job in Last of Us, but not a lot better, but enough. But I love the storytelling. Drake, Sully, the whole crew there. It's just that was. I just think that they do a very good job of putting out an extremely polished game with an amazing amount of attention to detail. And they take the time to do the mocap, the voice acting, and they don't release it till it's just right. And that's a studio that you see every so often. Those studios don't just pop up every 18 minutes. So, like there's games that I'm playing now that are a lot of fun, but they don't have the polish or the poise of like a Naughty Dog. To me personally, I think that they walk around with their chest out because every time they put a game out, forget Game of the Year. There's 4 or 5 other big award ceremonies, even though they usually win Game of the Year, is that they win so many awards in art direction and this and that and music score and this and that. And it's like, there's a lot, like you said, there's a lot of people in the credits of all these games. And there's just the amount of people that they have working there and the amount of expertise they have there It's just like a well-oiled machine. It just works. It's like a Swiss clock. And I think that's the company. I think that's one of the best. I'm biased because I really like zombie games, and I don't. There's no other real zombie or post-apocalyptic game. I understand that the infected and the clickers are not zombies per se. They're infected, but I really love that world and the characters and Ellie and Joel and as you said earlier, the game's really old, but I'm not going to spoil it for people that may not have. But the way they would be able to transition from a major character and cast member to another major person and make you hate and loathe. I don't know if you played The Last of Us 2.
Yes, I beat both of them back
right.
to back.
Do you remember, Ham, how you could hate a character so much in the first half of a game, and then actually whether you ended up liking them a lot in the second half, or at least understanding why they did what they did in the first half? That to me is storytelling that you usually would get in a major motion picture.
There is a ridiculous amount of emotion that's invoked in that game.
And you don't have to agree with my emotion, but it's there. Even if you disagree with me, the emotion's there.
Right. So like I ended up like at first, of course, I hated, the new girl.
Yep.
I hated her. I absolutely hated her for what she did. And then like as the story evolved, I started to not hate her so much as I was more just disappointed in her.
Right.
And then I ended up being like, well, now I'm not just disappointed with her, but I'm disappointed with the main character too. Like y'all both are stupid.
Yeah.
That ended up being
there's something
my
to
final
that.
result.
There's something to that, Ham. There was a point where I was also pissed at both of them too. No, you make a great point. But that's probably the one. The other one, and I know listen, when we talk about favorite game and favorite this and favorite that, one of my other favorite game directors / developers is Ken Levine. Ken Levine is the creator of BioShock 1 and Infinite. He did not do 2. And he's not working on the new one. So
I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's Ken. If you play the BioShock collection, there's a couple of things that you collect throughout the game. This was really cool. They put it in there. They put director's reels. So when you're playing the game, there's a thing to collect in the game, and it's a director reel. When you find it, and they don't really hide it from you. They don't tell you where it is, but it's pretty obvious. They want you to watch it. When you find it, it'll ask you. It'll say you found and a bit of this is loose memory, but it'll pop up on screen and it'll say, do you want to play the director's cut? And if you click yes, it takes you out of the game and it brings you to the Jeff Keighley interview with Ken Levine, and I don't remember the other gentleman that was working with him. But Ken he's the mastermind. And it's like a 20-minute interview with him, like real life, not like caricature or cartoon. It's a live video, and there's like 2 or 3 of these to get in the BioShock collection as you're playing through, and it's just an amazing thing to watch. And I've watched other interviews with him because he was under a lot of scrutiny. I don't know if you remember him when BioShock Infinite came out, because nowadays everything is crazy online, right? We talk about everything online, but when he did that whole like religious beginning thing in the beginning of, remember, Infinite, and like the end, that was I wouldn't use the word controversy, but you remember he got a little heat for it.
Dude, that game was super controversial.
Yeah,
and, very like playing it. Like I didn't play it. I watched my buddy beat this game.
Okay.
Because I was heavy into, I believe it was like one of the Borderlands at that time, or
yes.
No, I
might have been Borderlands 2.
Yeah, I think it was Borderlands 2, and I was also like really playing a lot of Call of Duty as well at that time. So I wasn't playing that game, but it was my bros that happened to be my roommate at the time. It was one of his favorite games. Still to this day, it's one of his favorite games. So I was just sitting there watching him play it because just the the animations and also just the dialogue within the game. Like I'd be walking to go to the bathroom and I'd hear something from the dialogue. It'd make me turn around and be like, did he really just say that?
Yeah. Yeah. The beginning part of it really was kind of, and you know what? The thing about it, Ham, is here's my thing. I don't really think it had to be there. You know, I think he just kind of threw it in there to add to the cultist kind of like world that Infinite was, the Columbia. And think about it, like the whole thing that happened with Ryan down in Rapture with this utopia that was clearly anything but is the same kind of world. And he went from underwater world to the sky, which was cool. I liked it. Then there was the whole, not grappling hook, but there's the hook, and there was the ways to swing on the metal rods that were everywhere. I don't remember the exact words right now. For some reason, it's escaping me. But yeah, the whole thing with having that like leader that they had in Columbia, like they had the leader in Rapture, but the thing with Ryan was you were led to believe, we can kind of spoil this, you were led to believe that Ryan was this awful, awful human being, which he wasn't great. But it was actually, there were people that undermined Ryan and were trying to sabotage Rapture and do things that were even worse than him. And in an Infinite, you find out that the end of it is kind of a wacky twist. I still have to like think about it for a second. It's the wackiest twist where, the time plays a role, and it's like not time travel, but something along those lines. But when it comes down to it, the reason I give him credit is it was such a it's such a unique game, and it has so much going on in it through the three various games. 2 was kind of like a clone of 1, but between 1 and 3 and this world of utopia and the way that they changed it and still made it feel fresh and new. And I liked how you had, much like Tiny Tina's Wonderlands were both playing, Ham, you had your powers, your plasmas, and then you had your guns, and it was an assortment of weapons, and it was an assortment of plasmas. And that was just unique, and I really liked it. So, Ken Levine's one of my favorite like creators in that respect. And again, if you get a chance to go watch the BioShock Director's Edition, it's really worth your time. It's in the game though. You got to buy the game. I think maybe you can probably Google it or watch it on YouTube. But I recommend you check it out. It's really, really cool to see how they came up with the little sisters and the Big Daddy and where the artwork came from. Because think about it, man, it's wild. Shit's crazy. Like, what? Like, I mean, so he came up with that. But yeah, look at me. I told you I could take a simple question, Ham, and make it into a 4-hour miniseries. So I'll just say Naughty Dog is probably my favorite. But again, it's not because it's Sony. It's not because of this. It's because I genuinely, I've platinumed The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2. I love it. And I hope and I can't wait for Factions 2 to come out, because to get the platinum in the original Last of Us, I mean, you got to play a lot of multiplayer to get those. That's why a lot of people don't have the platinum in that. It's because they didn't want to play that much multiplayer. But I loved Factions, and Factions 2 is supposed to be like crazy good. So,
and I personally don't like it when games do that.
I don't like that either. No.
Because for instance, I really like my football games. I'm a 2K football head from back in the day. But like, if I were to play, if I were to finally get to a Madden that I enjoy, and there isn't one right now, but if there ended up being one that I enjoy, I would be furious if I was a achievement hunter and I had to go into online on Madden to get a few achievements.
Yeah,
because it's almost like let's be real, most multiplayers are like a totally different game than the single player or the story.
Yes.
So like, obviously when you play Call of Duty, that story and just like the way that you stay alive in that game is a lot different than the multiplayer where you just take a couple shots and die.
That's right.
So to make that an achievement is like forcing me to play something I don't want.
But it's even worse with what they did with The Last of Us, because It's one thing if you just have, like Tiny Tina's Wonderland, there's 2 or 3 trophies locked behind multiplayer, but all you have to do is, Ham, you jump in my game and I revive you, I get a trophy. And then if me and you trade like equipment, one piece of equipment, we each get a trophy. Done. You may think that's annoying, and it is, but
that takes
it's
2
easy.
minutes though.
It's 2 minutes. The Last of Us, you had to go through as the butterfly, and then you had to go through as I can't remember the other name of the other Legion there, or the other group. But anyways, you had to max out.
Like Fireflies and...
Fireflies, butterfly. I'm looking at something over on this butterfly. Fireflies, and then there was the like troopers or something else. I can't remember what it was. But you had to max out on both of those to get there. And I'm telling you right now, that was about... I mean, I'm sure somebody would listen to this and go, bullshit. But it was probably somewhere around 30 hours to get that. Of multiplayer, 30, 35 hours of multiplayer of play. I think. I mean, roughly. Some people probably did it faster. Some people did it slower. I know some people that said it was much longer than that. But I played the hell out of it. But again, my story, I'm still with you. I don't like... You should not lock trophies and achievements behind multiplayer. But The Last of Us really did it wrong. Because they put 2 trophies in there that were just like, damn. Like, that's not like I'm just going to strike up a game with my friend and,
It's a commitment.
It's a commitment. And so I did it. For me, the commitment was less of an issue because I loved it. But I know a lot of people that don't have that platinum because they refuse to play the multiplayer. Not because they don't want to play the multiplayer. They don't want to play the multiplayer you have to win. Like, you don't just play the multiplayer to play the multiplayer. You have to win. You have to make it to 12 weeks on both. And it can be time consuming to get there. It really can be. But yeah, that would, I guess, be my answer to those right there. And again, I'm very long-winded.
Very fun. And it's very fun with me because I don't just have this podcast. I mean, obviously I have this to be able to like share with other people and stuff like that. But I just enjoy games. So like just talking about games, I can literally do that for hours. And that was one of the main reasons I got into content creating, is because not only do I want to like, be able to share my joy with other people, but I also want to like argue. I want to like be able to talk to people about it, and like maybe I'm seeing something that you're not seeing, and I could actually enjoy this game that I've been hating for like the last 5 years or something like that.
Yes.
Like just the opportunity to conversation, because I know if I walk up to my lady and start talking her ear off about freaking Last of Us or something like that, she'll just be like I gotta go. like I enjoy talk. Like she's a gamer too, but she's a gamer that likes to talk about the games that she enjoys. She's not the gamer that just wants to talk about games. If that makes any sense.
So I do get that. My missus, she enjoys. She doesn't really game, but she loves game, the whole idea of family gaming. So she's always here when we're gaming. Like if I'm playing like anything, Last of Us, pick any game right now, playing Wonderlands, she's right there chilling with me. You know what I mean? Yeah, maybe she's on her phone or whatever, but like she's still there, and she's like, yo, I could play for 3 hours every night. She don't say, because she's like, she enjoys the hobby, but don't play the hobby. You know what I'm saying?
No, so I totally get that, and I'm sure she enjoys that. She knows where your money is going. She knows what you enjoy doing, and it's safe, and it ain't hurting nobody. So it just kind of is what it is.
100%. And that's why I said I really do think that, like, if it's something that you never want to push it on the family, but if it's something the family like digs, I think it's great. Whether it's you and your missus. If you're too young, because you're younger than me, and you're like, listen, I got my nieces and nephews coming over. Strike that switch up, or put on Bug Snacks. Or give them a game that they like. Listen, I love that. When nieces and nephews come over, I'm like, let's put on a game that they love to play. I don't care what it is. You want to play Mario Kart? We play kart. Absolutely. Absolutely. Everyone says that. And then, but the thing is, though, the problem is the kids are like, yeah, that's cool as hell. And then the parents are looking at me rolling their eyes like, I ain't buying that shit for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm kind of like,
this is your problem to take home.
I'm like, I don't mean to do this, but And it's fun because it's a way to like hang out, and it keeps them entertained, and then the kids all kind of enjoy it together. And it's a beautiful thing for the family to enjoy. It really is. I think I think gaming is, like I say, and it's a way to pass down like all these things we're talking about, Ham. Get to talk about all the experiences with Nintendo and Genesis and where the games came from and how they look. They used to look like this, and now they look like that. And when I started playing, we didn't have saves, right? Like the day that I brought home Zelda, the gold cartridge, and it had saves locked in, like it had that mini battery built into it. Man, to me, that was the same as a flying car.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like my eyes lit up. I'm like, because I remember my cousin got it before I did. He got Zelda before I got it. And I was at his house. And he's like, all right, we played for like an hour and a half. And then somebody was like, it's time to eat. So he's like, all right, let me shut this off. I'm like, don't shut that off. Whatever you do, don't shut that off. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, it saves. What saves? I'm like, that ain't to save shit. Don't shut that off. It's like when you told me, you're like, Mooch, just press the top 2 buttons on your Switch. Yeah, don't shut it off. He's like, no, it saves, man. Relax. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, so we went to go eat. We came back. And bam, there we were, right where we left off. Turned it back on. Bang, we're playing again. That was wild. And it's like to show like the kids, like showing my kids, like this is how we started. This is where we're at. It's crazy. And their eyes open up. They're like, oh my God, that's crazy that we got that far in technology. And now we're controlling characters that look like we look. You know what I'm saying? That act like we act. That's crazy. And, before, think about it. You talk about Coleco, you talk about Atari, you talk about Nintendo. Look at Double Dribble. Okay? Everybody looks
Arch
like
rivals.
Everybody just looked like a stick figure with a square ball in their hand. It was, I'm joking, it wasn't that bad, but it was pretty bad. I played Blades of Steel. That was my first hockey game. Still, I think one of the best hockey games.
It sounds like so much more than a hockey game.
Oh,
when you say it now.
That's what they called it, man. No, it wasn't. But it wasn't one of those games where, they emphasized the fighting or anything like that. There was fighting in the game, but it was Blades of Steel was, just a horizontal, old-fashioned late 80s hockey game. And it was good. Man, it was good. I played the shit out of that. I don't watch as much hockey as I used to. I used to watch a lot of hockey when I was younger. Right now, between baseball and football have my full attention. And then I squeak in, I would watch more basketball, but listen, every year I get excited. I'm a Knicks fan, and every year,
I'm sorry.
like a month and a half in, I'm done. And it's not because I watch the Mets when they suck, but for some reason watching the Knicks when they're not good, man, it's because listen, even when
just
the Mets are bad,
bro.
Right? But even when the Mets are bad, they may keep a game interesting into the 6th inning, right? When the Knicks are bad, man, that's over by the 2nd quarter, and I'm like, this ain't going well. We're already not playing defense. It's over. So it is what it is. But you see, I went on a rant. I went so far out there, Ham.
It's okay.
It's hard to come back. Shout out to Salt. Shout out to Saltiest Gaming. Great to have Salt. Salt stop by. That's awesome.
Yeah, good to see you there, bro.
Stank goes, a Knicks fan too. Yeah, well, listen, I'm New York through and through, Stank. There's not much I can do.
Knicks. Stank is clowning on you right now.
He's got every right to, man.
All right. Well, yeah. What up, though? Salty is. Appreciate you shouting me and Mooch out and showing up and showing you love and whatnot. But continuing on. All right, bro. Last time I'm gonna have you go back into the day.
Okay.
But I want you to pick 2 games and bring them in now. What are those 2 games that are getting that love?
Okay, yeah. So 2 games that I'm playing indefinitely.
No. 2 games that you want to be remade.
Oh, remade. I'm sorry. I apologize. Oh, okay. So I saw this on your list. It's not like you didn't give it to me earlier, but this was the one question that I didn't have an answer for right off the bat. So 2 games to be remade off the, I'm going to need a second here. I would say Thank you, Salt. I appreciate that. Really do. That was one of the things that we were kind of talking about in the past. Is I love sports radio, and I've always loved radio. It's one of the reasons I did get into podcasting. Is now that I shouldn't say radio's dead. It's not dead by no means. But you got to be on like Spotify or YouTube, or you've got to be on something big, serious. So podcasting is like
FM, AM radio,
right.
unless you're constantly playing music, or you have a well-known brand, which
yes.
you're one in the whole city.
Right, right.
Then you need to
like if you're Francisca in New York. Other than that, you don't have a show. So Salt, I really appreciate that. It's one of the things that I really love, and it means the world to me when Salt or anyone says, Mooch, really enjoy your voice through because think about it. Yes, I do cam occasionally now. You're on cam, Ham, but like ultimately, enjoy. You do enjoy certain people's voices when they're talking to you on the radio or Spotify or whatever it is. Because if a voice annoys you, you may not tune back in. You know what I mean? You might not. You might not. Maybe you will. I don't know. But I want to get back to your question about games that love to be remade.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think about something.
Two.
Can I go way back?
This is
okay.
Your answer. You can go as far back.
Then I'm going to go ahead and ask for this because I've never gotten it, and I probably never will. I want like a Castlevania. I don't give a shit which one. I want a true Castlevania game brought to 2022. Not Symphony of the Night, not any of that stuff. I want a true, honest to God, like almost God of War, 2018 God of War, but when you're Simon Belmont. Okay? Let's get real. That's what I want. I want a Castlevania game brought to 2022 the right way with AAA money. Do it right. Let's explore those castles. Let's fight. Listen, let's go. We've left fighting Dracula for so long that it feels new again. Right?
You don't even really hear that name very often anymore.
Yeah, I bet you somebody who's probably 13 years old is like, who the hell is that? Is Dracula? Is that who's on my cereal box?
Right.
No, that's not who's on your cereal box.
Count Chocula.
Count Chocula. So I would say Castlevania's one. And then I would say, I'm just going to go old school. I would say probably, I got a game for you. I'm going to make you fall out of your seat. They did make one again, but it wasn't done right, Ham. I'm going to say Bionic Commando.
Wow.
Make that shit real. Like, bring that to 2022, right? Remember he had that grappling hook for an arm and he could shoot with the other? And you had the crazy level design back in the day?
I'm just trying to picture what that would even look like.
I do, you know what? And that's the thing. So the Castlevania one I can paint, because I think you could do a Castlevania, right? Because we've kind of seen Kratos with the whip weapons that he has in when he doesn't have his axe. But the Bionic Commando, maybe that can't be the three-dimensional world of what we have now. Maybe that still has to be a platformer, but make it a platformer. I don't care. You know?
Yeah, that would be something else. It'd have to be super graphic and just insane to me personally. It wouldn't be a rated T game, bruh.
Well, no. Listen, leave the T out of it. Okay? Hey, and we talked about that at the beginning of the show. Listen, you put Mooch in charge as the director of a game, shit ain't gonna be. It's gonna be a mature audience game. Period. Because right now, right, like the way that our minds are working right now at this age that we are both at. Okay, and I know that we're separated by years, but at the same time, we've got the same thought process when it comes to a game or what we want to sit down and play. And I'm looking at the games you got on screen right now that you're showing right now that you're playing. Like, there ain't nothing teen about these games.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that.
Borderlands. I mean, not Borderlands.
Yeah, I know. Except for the Wonderlands, which we both agree they messed up on. They messed up big time. They should have made that a mature game because the writing could have been better, right? So the writing is definitely not the same. It's
when I got repeatedly called a cutie idiot, I just I just couldn't.
It's tough, man. I'm going to say the right.
Just
if
like
it wasn't for the, if it wasn't that it was a looter shooter, and it wasn't like that that part, not Bioshock, that Borderlands artwork, which I just love. That what do they call it? It's not cell shaded. I don't know, maybe it is cell shaded. I don't know what they call it. I'm not an artist. I don't pretend to be one.
I don't know.
But you know what I mean? But listen, you know what, if I just showed you a picture of a random backdrop in Borderlands, and I go, what game is this? You'd go, Borderlands.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? You would know it in a minute. And that's what I'm trying to get home. That's what I'm driving home right now.
You got a very iconic, scruffy cartoon look.
Yeah, man. But the way that they look, and man, they even make Moxie look good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, inappropriate ass.
Right?
Oh man,
but
talk about
they
inappropriate.
didn't even put her in Wonderlands because they probably couldn't.
Right.
Which sucked. But anyways,
She
I'll leave
was,
that there.
She is very bubbly.
She's very very forward. Yes.
All right. Well, now that we're at our last 3 questions, let's go on ahead and run through those. I want to know what frustrates you in gaming, if anything at all, and this could be in any context.
Yeah. No, that's a great question, by the way. Like I said, I've been on a lot of different shows where they say, Mooch, this is your life. Let's answer some questions. But you got good questions here. The frustrating thing for me, it's twofold, Ham. Too much dialogue from either NPCs or stories in the game. And I'll give you an example. You have it on screen right now. Horizon is one of them. Yes, it is.
Oh my God! Just stop. Just tell me the story, or better yet, stop giving me the option to pick different answers and just tell me all of it at once.
That's. Well, you know what? Yes, but if you were literally to let that pinwheel of questions be answered, you'd be there for 45 minutes per interaction.
You're not lying. I told my buddy Matt, which was in
I loved Horizon Forbidden West. I platinumed it, but I got to a point.
Bro,
I got to a point, yeah.
I spent the last 45 minutes of the last time I was playing that game just going from talking point to talking point to talking point. And then to continue the mission, I went somewhere else to continue talking, and it was just oh my God. But continue, I'm sorry.
No. I'm sitting here and I'm hearing your frustration, and I'm sharing it because it just got to a point where listen, it doesn't have to be as short as go over there. Okay, I want more than that, but less than what you're giving me in Horizon. The other one that bothers me that does it too much is Mass Effect. It's too much. It's too much. Mass Effect 2, when you get to the Citadel, I mean, you could die there. I mean, literally, you and me could die there. There's just so much going on, and everyone you talk to get a quest talks to you for an hour and a half, and it's the same thing with the pinwheels, and you can pick the 5 different things to ask them, and it's not like you ask them a question and they're like, well, the reason is blah, 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 and what you need to do is go over and see so-and-so because so-and-so has the thing. No, it's pages upon pages of dialogue, and that's what ruins certain things for me. It takes me out of the moment. Yes, I want to get immersed into a story. And it's funny because didn't we just talk about this? Now, Ham, tell me if I'm right or wrong. But The Last of Us has a tremendous amount of story. But the way that it's told in brief segments or acted very well. It's not like 2 people just staring at each other talking. It's there's actually a movie happening in between. If you're entertaining me and I'm thoroughly entertained, I'm all about it. But Mass Effect, Horizon are the 2 that come to mind. But then there's Elden Ring. Well, Elden Ring's the complete opposite. It doesn't frustrate me. This is not a frustration, but I kind of chuckle a little. Because you'll walk up to an NPC, right? And you need to get something out of this person. And you're like, and they're like, hello, Tarnished. And you're like, hello. And he's like, isn't it weird when the wind blows left to right from castle view to castle down? And you're like, what the hell is that? And then he's like, goodbye. And you're like, what the fuck just happened? Like, what? What the hell is that? You know, I'm like, dude, you got to give me more than that. All right, so they don't say shit. They're like, go play the game. And then I got Horizon that's like, do me a favor. Make yourself a sandwich. This is going to be a minute. And I'm like, I just can't handle. That's one of my biggest pet peeves. And I know that people will say, but Mooch, that's how you get the story. I think you can get the story, like you said. First of all, get rid of the pinwheel. I don't want to have 7 different conversations with you. Give me the one and just say it. Also, say it in less than 3 minutes, maybe less than 2 minutes. Like, some of those interactions were like 5 minutes, 6 minutes. And like you said, in the beginning of the game, I was hitting every question. By the end, I was only hitting the diamond. The diamond is the one where the mission related.
Yeah, it continues the mission.
That's where I was at from probably 50% on, maybe even a little before. At that point, I was like, I got the gist. I know what's going on. I don't need to know all the heartaches of everybody I'm helping. I just don't. I don't. It's too much. So, yeah, that would probably be my biggest frustration, is too much dialogue or literature. You know, there's other games that don't do the dialogue. They just hand you a ton of reading information. It's like if it's 1 page, page and a half, okay. But if it's like every time you pick something up and you got to read more about it. I was just playing a game, too, that was like that. I can't remember. It was the middle end of last year. And every single thing you picked up was like a book. It was a book. And I just got to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm good. And again, that's where Naughty Dog, I think, does it right with Uncharted. You'll pick up a book, you'll pick something up, and you look at it, and it's just, it's a page. And you might go, Mooch, a page? It's like triple spaced, Ham. It's not a lot. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's the gist. You just get the gist. Give me a gist. I got to go. I don't got time for this. So, you know, the game takes 80 hours, and then I got to read for another 30? It's like, I don't mind, but let's, you know, what are we here to do? We're here to game. So let's keep it gaming. So that's probably my biggest frustration. But I mean, it's not a deal breaker. It's just, it can make me, as you would say, I like the way you say behind them sticks. It can make me put the sticks down. You know what I'm saying? So.
All right. Well, here's the opposite question now. Dream come true in gaming. Now, I want to know, like, it could be as crazy as a fantasy.
Okay.
But if you have something realistic, go ahead and share it.
Well, in what way? Like,
anyway, this is your dream, not mine.
Okay. I feel like I'm at my guidance counselor's office in 12th grade. You can be whatever you want to be, Mooch. Thank you. I appreciate that, Mr. Ham. I think, I'm trying to think of what I would do. I guess I would just try to, like, take the best of a few types of games. And I mean the mechanics. Because it's not fair for me to say take the story from one and put it into the other. It doesn't work that way. But open world that's not so far-fetched as far as it's so massive you lose yourself, like the Assassin's Creed games. Like, I have no interest in those games. Like, I bought Valhalla with my Xbox Series X because, you know, not to bother anybody, but there was nothing else to play on the Series X that was going to show me my 4K, you know, give me my stuff that I just bought.
Right when it came out, it was empty. I mean, so, and that was a drop game pretty much.
That was a drop game, so I picked it up. But I got to be honest with you, Ham, you want to talk about, like, playing something, like, begrudgingly? I played it begrudgingly. Like, I didn't really care for it. It's too much dialogue, huge world, no interest at all. The story completely just kind of loses itself after the first 5 hours. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I don't really care.
I know K-Mega loved that game, but I could not do it.
I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Like it was just too. It was the point where it felt so open that it kind of felt empty.
Yes. 100% with you. And by the way, shout out to Kay. I'm actually jealous that he got to enjoy it. I want to. I just
Yeah, right. I'm like,
I do. I
that?
want to. I just can't, man. I just can't. I don't know. I think that I'm trying to think here. What else? It's a tough question to answer. I don't think about games necessarily as me being a creator, Ham. I've always, just like movies, right? Like if the new Doctor Strange is coming out in May. I just want to go see what these people that have these amazing artistic minds put on video. And I want to play a game that somebody like truly loved to make, and they put their passion, their heart, and their soul into it and put it out there. I don't really have that like perfect, like if you say like fantasy like type of game. I guess the only thing I could say is I love the way that like a Ken Levine created that. You tried to show people how utopia doesn't and probably never will exist ever in Rapture and in Columbia. And I think that I like that underworld, that underwater world. I liked Rapture way more than I was more intrigued with Rapture than I was Columbia for sure. And I think that's where I would kind of say that like maybe make something like that again, where it's a world where, things try to be perfect, and maybe by the end of it, maybe it starts off where it's not and it gets to be perfect or something of that nature. I'm not really good at that. Like the one thing that I love to do is I love discussion and talking points on things that exist. The reason I've never been an artist or behind a canvas is because I'm not an artist. Like I couldn't draw a stick figure of you. I can't, like, I'm not that. I've never been good with that. I've been better in the sciences and mathematics world than they were like, draw this picture of this still fruit when I was a kid. And the bowl of fruit looked like a circle with more circles on it. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't know. I'm not an artist. So that's a tougher read for me. I'm actually interested, Ham. What's yours? Because maybe when you say yours, you'll spark something for me.
Like a dream come true for me in gaming?
Yeah, like I want to hear, because maybe I maybe just be missing the question.
My dream come true would be Sega to make a comeback.
Okay.
and just randomly come out with a new system.
Okay, now I see.
Implements everything that I feel like I'm missing in some of these consoles now. Where like the biggest thing I feel like I'm missing, which Nintendo kind of has it, but I feel like I'm missing couch co-op a lot.
So let me ask you though, do you miss it because you really miss it, or do you miss the good times you had when you think about it?
No, that's a fantastic question. I miss it, and by couch co-op, I should kind of rephrase that. I should say not couch co-op, but just co-op in general.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like co-op games, I mean...
Now you're talking.
All the way back to like... I feel like co-op games fell off in the PS3 and 360 generation.
Yes.
Like, because it just became all about getting everybody online and you can just play together there. But the caveat is I'm fighting everybody online. I'm not really playing with them. Like, we're not really playing this game to beat it together as much as we're just in a map killing each other over and over and over. And and so like when I see games like Hazel Light's done with A Way Out and It Takes Two, like I want a lot more of that. It doesn't even have to be Sega being brought back to do it, because I mean they had their fair share of some couch co-op and co-op games, but I mean there is plenty of other studios and publishers out there that they're not, Sega isn't really the credit for that. It's more or less like, Activision and, the games that actually were put onto the platform, not the platform itself. But yeah, as I was saying, I'd really like to see. I think that would be my dream come true. It's just a lot more cooperative games being made to where you have to play with somebody else or else you just don't play that game. And that's the, I mean, I heard a lot of people or not a lot, but I heard some people complaining about it in It Takes Two, where you have to play with somebody else. But my whole thing would be like, get some friends, you know, like they make it almost hard for you not to be able to play with somebody else by giving you like the, you know, like the friendship pass or whatever they call that thing, where it's like you own the game, the other person doesn't need to own it. They just need to download something to be able to play it with you.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, when you say that, the game that really comes to mind for me for co-op, that you're right, by the way, I think we lost that. We lost that part of gaming, because you saw it happen a lot more. You know, Army of Two, Gears of War, 360,
so
right?
fun.
Yeah, it was real good, man. And man, you're right. That needs to come back.
Remember Conflict Desert Storm?
Yeah,
That was one of my most loved co-op games of all time, and I will not play that game now, pretty much. I mean, I'll play it if somebody else wants to, but good luck finding somebody that wants to play on the original Xbox, because it ain't multiplayer.
no.
But
but I do think when you say
you're able to control two people, like if you're playing split screen, just you and another bro, you can control two different people, each of you. So one of you has like a sniper and like an LMG, and the other person has like a shotgun and an assault rifle, and you could just work together so well. And that original Xbox had the music you could put in the background of the game, so like you could listen to Tupac while you're running around in friggin' Iraq or something, like, or Afghanistan or whatever the hell it was. I don't remember exactly, but it was just really cool to be able to play. And obviously, I mean, let's not forget the obvious one out there, Halo. Like, let's go.
absolutely.
And I know Xbox is trying to keep people multiplayer focused, but I need PlayStation and Nintendo to do the same. Keep that same energy as well, because it'd be great. Because when I turn on my PlayStation, I don't turn it on to play multiplayer like I do on my Xbox.
Right. Well, and you know what? We'll find out, Ham, because that's the fun part about this generation. We were saying this generation is going to change as we go through. PlayStation has like 5 or 6. What they're saying, by the way, I'm not going to sit here and hype it up. I'm just going to say what we know. They have 5 or 6 big AAA multiplayer games supposed to be coming out this generation, which, let's talk about it. We didn't, that PS3, PS4, not unless it was third party. Now, first party studios are going to be making multiplayer games. They know that's, first of all, where the money is. Number 2, that platform, I'll tell you, they've already got single player on lock.
Oh yeah.
They do the multiplayer thing. Listen. If they have 6 games coming out, let's say 2 are knockout. Let's say 4 you go, right? I mean, that makes sense, because they're not all going to be home runs. We both know that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
No way. No company.
So.
No company. So, heck, even one. If they have one that goes, let's say they have one big one of the new ones, and then Factions ends up, like, because Factions isn't going to be that little brother that's attached to Last of Us. This is a full-fledged game. It's going to be much more in depth. And I'll tell you, I don't know if anyone is listening that cared about Factions as much as I did. But the team dynamic that goes into a game like that is, I haven't played a multiplayer game quite like that personally. You've got to really work as one cohesive unit. Whereas like Call of Duty or Warzone, even when you're playing as a cohesive unit, you got one gunslinger. You're like, Ham, where are you? And you're like, I'm over here. And you're like, dude, that's not even where we are on the map. Yeah, but I wanted to get some more money. I'm going to get my loadout. It's like, yeah, all right, listen. My point being is, okay, you venture 5 feet away from your crew and you're not crafting and you're not being slick and silent, you're dead. And not only are you dead, you ruined it for your team. And that's the thing I really miss, is that connection I had with the team that I played with, and they care. And they're like, Mooch, listen, go up on the second floor, grab that thing, make a bomb can, throw it out the window. That'll distract them. And then I'm over here in the other house, and I'm gonna pop them from the other way with a rifle. Like, it was just crazy, man. It's just very, very, very strategic. I'm hoping that they can make this one full. So you have that plus maybe one of the other from the big games, the big boys that are making it, and maybe they'll have something. Maybe they won't. But that's an exciting thing. Xbox is trying on the other side, right? They've had a lot of success with multiplayer. Now they're trying to actually get a single-player game that we care about, and it's been a minute. So I think that's something they're working on with their new teams. And we'll see. Again, a lot of teams, a lot of games. I hope that 2 or 3 make it. Make it big time. Where we have this conversation in 10 years and you go, Mooch, you remember 2023 when that game came out? That was the memory. That was the shit. We have those memories about 07. We have those memories about a lot through 360 era. Some people have a lot of them for the PS1, PS2, or OG Xbox era. We don't have a whole lot of that in the Xbox One era. And I'm not saying you don't have a couple that stand out for you. I have a couple. But
it was like disrespectful how little.
Right. That's all I'm saying. It was there. It was brought to be thought, it wasn't right.
It felt like it was brought to be thought of as like it's niche. Like, no, it's not niche at all. Like, I really want to play with my homies and I want to tackle something together. I don't want to keep shooting each other.
Right. Exactly. And that's the thing. Like, I want more of that Call of Duty experience. The one thing I'll say, though, and that's why I asked the question initially, was with the couch co-op. We sit here and we say that. I personally, I will say this much, though. I just platinumed Takes Two. Dude, that's a fun-ass game to play with somebody on the couch playing co-op split screen.
Dude, it's hilarious.
It is hilarious. And because you know what? You go from laughing to, like, pissed, right? Sometimes when you're playing, you're like, dude, you got to turn it the other way. You know what I mean? And they're only right next to you. And it is fun. It's an emotional roller coaster. Very well done. That game on a couch, awesome. Do I want to play split screen with you, Gears of War? Probably not. I'd actually rather you were at your house, I'm at my house, and we both got a full screen playing together.
Right. Because split screen on some games, you're right.
You know what I mean?
I forgot about how much
I don't want to cut that experience in half because my friend's sitting next to me.
You know how many times I'd be like, man, I hope this game is horizontal. I hope this game is horizontal. And you'd be vertical and you'd be like, no.
Hope this game is horizontal. That's great. That should be on a t-shirt.
Oh my God.
Like, that's awesome.
Seriously.
But you know what I mean? Because listen, the screen is that's the canvas. And remember, It Takes Two is deliberately done on a split screen so that you can maybe even help each other a bit, right? Because you're doing your task. You can see their task. Right. But when it comes to Gears of War, I'm using Gears as an example. Split screen, you're sitting on the couch on one side, I'm on the other side, Ham. All we're doing is taking half of our vision away from each other. I'm not helping you blast dudes. You know how to blast the guy who's hiding behind cover from 10 feet away. Like, I'm not going to be like, no, he's over there, Ham. You'll be like, no shit, dude. I see him. All I'm doing is taking half of your TV screen away from you. So I want more co-op. Strategically, if it's a strategically planned, like our boy there made for It Takes Two, yes. Otherwise, give me more Army of Two, give me more Gears of War, give me more of those types of games where I can play. Ham can be in Virginia, I could be in NYC, or you could be in, I don't care, you could be in Italy, I could be in, right, Australia. I just picked anything random, right? I don't even know where I went with that. But, like, you could be anywhere, dude, and, like, we can game and we can do that and have that same experience together. That needs to come back in a big way. I don't know if developers are willing to do that. I don't know.
I don't know either. Because
the game, think about it, Ham, when you make a game that's for 2 people, or like Halo 5 was with 4 people, that, I'm not saying it restricts it, but it definitely changes game development. So it may add a benefit like me and you want, but it may take away something from the game or the level design because they have to take co-op into consideration. I don't know. I'm not a game developer, and I didn't sleep at Holiday Inn Express last night. So I have no clue what I'm saying on that, but it feels like it would impact the development of the game.
Gotcha. All right, so now we've reached the last question, which is, you got any questions for me before I have you do the last thing before we close it out?
Honestly, I got to be honest with you, a 3-hour podcast. I think me and you, I know more about, the only thing I don't know is your 4-digit code to your Visa.
Can you please go to the Target gift? No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, yeah, I felt like I answered a lot of things that I usually get asked at the end of the show. So I'm more than happy to skip it this time. That's totally
Yeah.
fine. But do me one last thing before I let
Sure.
you go, and just describe gaming for me in just 3 words.
Well, I'll give you a couple. First one just came to mind. You always gotta say the one that comes to mind, right?
Right.
Best pastime. Give me a second here, because this is not something I wrote down. 'Cause I think improv with something like this is better than just writing it down. Because if I write it down, that means I looked something up or I thought about something, figured it out. I could be really hardcore and just be like way of life. It's something I think that people that listen to your channel, people that listen to my channel, people that come through, people we interact with in the community on Twitter, any social media outlet. I don't know. I think that those are the two that kind of, like, for me, it's just like I could not picture stop gaming for a very long period of time. I couldn't picture that. But that's when someone says they're hardcore, it doesn't always mean to me that you have a zillion achievements or 8 million trophies or you have 7,000 games. That definitely would be something that would prove it. But I think
helpful.
it's helpful, certainly. It shows that you're into it. But I think that when someone says they're a hardcore gamer, shit, you could play Fortnite for 8 hours a day for the next 10 years and not own one other game. I still think you're a hardcore gamer. Because it means that you want to pick up that controller or that keyboard and mouse for some. Not me. That just gives you carpal tunnel. But it's just something that, like, I think if you love this hobby as much as I have, and you've had every system, I still have the Coleco, actually. I don't have it on my shelf because if I put it up, people would just think it's an old phone. By the way, Google Coleco controller, and then you'll get that joke. But like, I think that, like, I just don't. I game almost every day. I mean, maybe I miss a day, but that's because life gets in the way. But I always try to log on, and if it's not me doing like critical or critical missions for completing a game, I still jump on and I still play 2-3 rounds of Warzone. That's why I said it's like it's not something where you have to sit there and you don't have to always have credentials, is my point, to enjoy gaming. I've been doing it for a very long time, man. I've been there. Remember when Toys R Us used to open when I was a kid, and the way gaming was back then, when a game came out, like, it would come out on a Saturday, or maybe it came out on Friday, but it was Friday night, but it was Saturday morning for me. I was a kid, and we would line up at the door, and when they opened, we had to run to the video game section, and underneath the games, there was like a piece of paper, like a sheet, and you had to pull the sheet. And then you brought that sheet to the front, and they'd give you you pay for it and get the game. They didn't have the games out there like they don't now, but they had sheets underneath each one, like basically, when you go to a house that's for sale, and they have that thing that's hanging underneath the for sale sign, and you can grab the info sheet on it.
Yeah,
they used to have those little sheets. It was like just a little thing with a SKU barcode on it, the name of it, and the price. You grab that. If you had that sheet in your hand, that was the Wonka ticket. That means you got it. I never forget, man. It would be sometimes only like 10 in stock, and there'd be like 15 kids running for it. Man, you should have seen me go. I got news for you, man. I was fast as hell. I was there, and then you had to find it. At Toys R Us, there was a wall with like 100 games on it, or it seemed like that as a kid. And you're like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? It wasn't always in alphabetical order. You're like, is it on top because it's new? They put it in the middle. They put it over here. I think they were just fucking with us. And finally, you find it, and then you grab that slip. When you got that slip, your parents were always like 80 yards behind you. And you're like, we got it. We got the game, And it was like, those are the memories, man. It was like, been doing it from then all the way till now. Got all the stories from being outside, enjoying the midnight releases and enjoying that era, the era with the kids with the tags of running in Toys R Us to go get that game. To now where you just press a button and wait for your pizza to get here and then wait for your 12:01 a.m. Eastern time to click so you can start playing the game.
Right.
So, I think that when it comes down to it, when you say 3 words, I'm the wrong guy for 3 words.
Hey, you ain't lying. I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, I literally had a thought just brush over my head. Like I was like, I don't know how Crap and Mooch do a podcast together, because them two are some of my longest podcasts I've had for Behind Them Six. So I don't understand how they go and do a podcast together. Like, who tells who that the show is over?
I can answer that, and I'll say it right on the air because Crap will tell you. Crap's the one that he'll write me in the DM. He'll be like, we got to wrap this up. This is going long. Because I'll go forever, and it's not that he doesn't want to, but like he said, we do so many podcasts in a week sometimes that it's like, he's like, like you say, either life gets in the way, and we really, really try hard. My crossfires generally go between 2 hours and 20 minutes, 2 hours and 30 minutes. I really try to stop at 2 hours, but it never really ends at 2 hours. And I looked at yours. I actually went on your page a couple of days ago, and I was looking, and I'm like, how long does this Behind the Sticks go? And I looked at them, and a lot of them are an hour and 20, hour and 40, hour and 50, hour and a half. And Craps was longer. And I was like, he don't even know how long this is going to go. Like, I'm dead serious. Like, I was on Noof Nukem's Gaming After Dark probably a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. And he starts his show so late. And it's because that's just when he's not able to do it earlier. And I was like, listen, Noof, I could probably do 2 hours. Man, we did almost 4 hours. I mean, it was, and he's like, dude, Mooch, every time you're on the show, it's never short. It's never short. I'm just, if I'm going to do a show, you're going to get 100% of me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm not coming on your show, and I'm not going to cut short. Like, I'm going to give you like the best show I can ever do. That's the one thing I always feel like. That's my motto. I say it all the time before Crossfire goes live. Live is whether I feel good or I don't, the show must go on. Like, out of 52 weeks in a year, 52 Fridays in a year, I do 48 at least. I think I maybe missed 4 a year. I do at least 48 episodes a year. Have I ever clocked it? No. But I just know that I usually take 1 week off around either Christmas Eve week or New Year's Eve week, depending on when the day falls, for the holiday. Mm-hmm. I'll take 1 week off there. I generally take 1 week off in the summer for vacation. And then I always account myself 2 weeks off for illness or, something happens with family and you just can't, like, again, life gets in the way.
Real life
but
things.
If there's nothing if I'm not deadly sick or there isn't something crazy going on, Crossfire's happening. You can get, like, as sure as the clock strikes 12, we'll be there.
Got it. Well, Mooch, I really want to thank you for being on the show. That was fantastic. We've been here for over 3 hours and almost 3 hours and 20 minutes now since I hit the go live button.
Yes, sir.
And I expected it to go long. Not this long, but I expected it to go long. But I can tell you, but as I told you earlier, like, yeah, I do this so people can, be able to talk and check out the content and whatnot. Like, it's cool to be able to say, I shared something within, gaming and whatnot. But I also do this, like I said, to be able to just talk to gamers. Because, in my, real life out here, like, I'm not going to talk my daughter is 4 years old. I'm not going to talk her ear off. I'm not going to talk my wife's ear off. And I have like maybe 3, maybe even less friends around this area because I'm not from this state. So like, I don't know anybody here. So that helps me even want to dive into podcasting even more, because it's like, I don't know anybody here. I might as well get to know some people online. So I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. And listen, thanks for the invite. And Ham, I got to be honest with you. Let me know what your schedule's like. If you're free on Friday, come on over and join us on Crossfire. If this week for some reason doesn't work for you, let's do it next week. and you meet a whole nother group of people. And we'll introduce the audience to this channel and your show and you. And yeah, listen, I'm an absolute fan of how great you run your channel. I love the interactions and I love the conversation we had on K Mega's show. I love this show that we did tonight. Was fun, man. This was a blast. Like when you looked out I didn't even look at the clock. I mean, just when you were like, this is the last question, I looked, but I didn't look at all because I genuinely, and I think I answered this in the first few questions. I love the podcast. I love the radio. We didn't talk about it, and I won't get into it, but like when E3 used to be a thing, me and Crap used to podcast. We used to start at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we would go all the way till 10 o'clock at night.
Ooh,
yeah,
that sounds.
We
dope.
took hour breaks here and there, but we did about 7 hours of podcasting that day. And you know your throat really does get tired of talking, and it's a lot, but it's just something that I truly love to do. So anytime you ever need somebody on the show, let me know, buddy. I promise they won't all be 3 hours long. This was more of a get to know the Mooch on the channel.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I'm also using this platform too, as well, is just to be able to have a collection of, if you really want to get to know this creator, if you really want to, enjoy this person's content or whatnot, and you need to, know how they came up in gaming, this is like my little encyclopedia of people throughout gaming. This is not a place where I come to do any kind of console warring or just anything like that. I want people just to know who the heck they're following and what to kind of expect from them in the future.
Yeah. No, Ham, honestly, I saw the list of people you've had on the show and the future guests, and I got to be honest with you, man, it's great, and it's really refreshing. Like I said, I really love what I like to do on Crossfire, but I like to come to other platforms like yours and just talk about experiences, history, basically past, present, and future of gaming. And I think we did that tonight. I really do. I think we covered a plethora of landscapes, a plethora of different era and genres. And yeah, man, it's just a tip of the iceberg because, like I said, let me know. You don't have to let me know on air. You can write me afterwards and just say, you can DM me and just say, dude, Friday works. If this Friday don't, we've already got some really fun, great podcasters coming on the show this week. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to talk to you about it off air.
So we'll talk about it offline.
Ask you some more in-depth questions about it.
Sure.
But yeah, let's go ahead and cut it here because we've been keeping these viewers. These viewers have been like, bro, I'm.
Shout out to Too Big. Shout out to Matt. Shout out to Saltiest Gaming. Shout out to also Stank too. He was awesome, man. Just absolutely awesome. I hope you guys definitely swing by and check us out over on Crossfire too. It's a lot of fun, and these guys are awesome, man. Great chat tonight.
Awesome. Super dope. All right, everybody. Don't forget to hit that like button on your way out. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content creators. You'll definitely be seeing them. Later on this week, we got what some people might call a controversial person, but I'm pretty sure he'll be able to keep it cool because we're just going to be talking about the things that he enjoys and whatnot. But I got Guapzilla coming on this Thursday, so it's going to be interesting.
Oh, I'll be in the audience for that.
Yeah.